Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the first Fenton Village webinar. So happy that you're all here, able to make it here. My name is Susan Peterkin. I am the current president of Fenton Village, Inc. And you may ask, what is Fenton Village, Inc.? So the Fenton Village, Inc. is a nonprofit whose sole purpose is to promote and protect over 240 small businesses in Fenton Village. Fenton Village is an eclectic, vibrant neighborhood in the downtown Silver Spring area. I'm very familiar with Fenton Village because I've built and nurtured a lot of friendships over the years. I started my business, Jaha Hair Studio, in 1996 and closed, I think, the business in sometime in 2021, 22, and was a very successful business. So I'm very, very connected to the area and the neighborhood. Fenton Village, we've had many events over the year, including the Taste of Fenton Village, Taste of World Fenton Village, just went on over 10 years. We've been involved in a lot of community changes, the business improvement district that tried to come in and, change the way how we operate our businesses in Fenton Village. We were able to, to put that past so it wouldn't happen. What else? Fenton Village is, as I said, very eclectic. It's known as the coffee capital of Maryland. It's home to a wide variety of Ethiopian food and coffee. A lot of other international tastes, Jamaican food, Burmese food, Thai, Korean, Mexican, soul food, and more, right? Fenton Village is also very, very resilient. We have seen a lot of changes over the year, a lot of construction and a lot of small businesses. We had to keep going, right? Another major thing that happened to us, unfortunately, was two iconic businesses about 10 years ago was destroyed by fire. Kefa Cafe and the Quarry House, which have since rebuilt from the community. And get strong community support and collaboration Fenton Village is. And we will continue to be that way with your help and your support. As I said, the resilience because from the business owners in a few minutes. So thank you again for coming to our first webinar. This will not be the last, and hope to see you again soon. The next speaker, I think, will be Edward Newfield from Newfield Law Firm. Thank you.
Here we go. You ready?
Hello, hello.
Amen.
Hello, good to have you. Thank you, Susan. Thank you all. As Susan said, I am I'm from the law office of Edward, E-D-W-R-D, and last name is Newville, Georgia Avenue, Suite 650. And I've been practicing law since 2004. So what I do, all things relating to green cards, citizenship, visas, deportation, all that good stuff. And so as you all hear, what's happening in the news, the deportation, talk about removal, we talk about green cards, naturalization. That is my specialty. That's what I've done for the last 21 years. And so what I can do now is talk to you, basically about, what's really happening, and what you should know. What I do in the Silver Spring, is, I provide legal services to individuals who want to remain in the U.S., as well as individuals who want to come into the U.S., and also those who are, facing the possibility of being sent out. So that's what I do: help you remain in the U.S. and help you come to the U.S. legally. We've all heard about the current what's happening now in terms of the enforcement of laws. One thing you want to know and be aware of is that all what is happening in terms of the immigration laws, the majority of these laws are already on the books. It's just about how they're being carried out now. And so you hear talk about the fact that you have to carry proof of your legal status or your lawful status. That has always been on the books. It's just that it's being enforced now a lot more stringent. And so, in general, the laws that the immigration laws are on the books, and this administration has taken the position that we are going to fully enforce them and carry it out. That means we have to be diligent. That means also we have to know what those laws are, and also what are your rights, what you can do, and what you can't not do. So let's start off basically what are the new enforcements, or how are they carrying these new laws out? So I would say basically there's a term that the administration and the president has used. It's called vetting, and it's extreme vetting. Well, what does extreme vetting mean? That means that if you come to the United States, you've come in, you apply for your green card, you have a work visa, all those things. Now you're applying for citizenship. It should be normally straightforward. You apply for your citizenship, you already have status. You should just be going through the process. Well, what we're looking at and what we're seeing now is that the administration is looking back at previous applications to make sure that you were properly granted those your status. That means that there was nothing in your past that was overlooked, and also presently, what they're looking at now. Well, let's look at your postings. Let's look at what you've been sharing online. Those in line with the values of the U.S. Those things like that. So this extreme vetting is just to make sure, in the eyes of the current administration, that if you're here legally, that you got those documentation properly, and that there's nothing that have occurred in your present life after you got those documentation that will prevent you from becoming a citizen. They're also enforcing their previous policies that if there's a reason for you to be detained, say at an interview, that is also happening. It didn't used to be like that all the time. I can say that at least in 2004 when I started, that used to be the policy. That if you went for an interview, you went to apply for your green card, they called you in. If there was anything on your record that would warrant that you were arrested or you were held, that is what it used to be. It kind of changed a little bit where the policy says, well, we're not going to arrest people at interviews, if you're going for a hearing, different things like that. But all those now are back to what it used to be. So what does that mean for individuals who are in the process of getting their nationalization? Or if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you're going for your green card, or you're applying for something else where, what does that mean for you? Basically, that means that, one, you need to make sure that you have all your documentation. And if you have a lawyer, I mean, this is not a time to do things by yourself. Right? You don't have to come to me, but make sure you go to an attorney who has a good reputation, who has the know-how and the expertise as to what to do. And so basically what I would do, when I have my clients come in, is to get a copy of the records, from USCIS. So USCIS is in charge, of the immigration process. Is a part of the Department of Homeland Security. So I usually request a copy of those records, and I review them along with the clients to make sure there's nothing in there that's missing, or if there's nothing in there that I need to be aware of, or even to explain. And so, and sometimes at times I find people who are afraid to apply or make the next move because they feel like, well, I have a record, I had an incident, so I'm afraid. Well, sometimes those things don't even prevent you from moving on to the next step, such as getting a green card or applying for your naturalization. So those are things, those are specialties that I do, and I advise them, my clients throughout the process to make sure we're doing things properly and doing things well. Part of my role as an attorney in the immigration process is to do what is called, my own vetting. If you're a U.S. citizen, you're married to a U.S. citizen, you're married to a U.S. citizen, you have a non-citizen wife, I sit down and I pretend like I'm the officer, and I vet you, and I ask you questions. My idea is that in order for me to advocate for you, to represent you properly, is to be able to believe that this application or what I'm doing is a true application. And if there's anything that needs to be explained, that I'm confident enough to advocate and represent you well. And so first, you have to pass my test, and then you move forward. So it's not just in the case of someone getting married, it's not just the fact that you've gotten married, you have your marriage certificate, and you're moving forward. Well, that's not it. One, I have to be able to present that at the time you got married, you intended to spend your life together with this person. Just getting an immigration status is not the sole reason. So that's the criteria for that. So what I'm seeing is that the laws are still the same. Some of the policies have changed a little bit to become a little bit more intense. But if I were to say what's going on now is that you have to be vigilant, you have to be prepared, and you have to take the immigration process serious, as though this was a criminal matter where you went to court, serious, or any other matter. And so that means being prepared to go through the interview. If you're in deportation proceedings, making sure that you're prepared for the hearing, and having a good attorney and represent you. Gone at the times where you would just hire someone just because it's cheap. If you're looking for a cheap lawyer or a lawyer that fits your budget because you don't want to spend, you basically, I would say this straight, paying for your way out of the country, paying for a much longer process. I'm not saying that an attorney who may charge a low fee based on your financial situation necessarily will not give you the right advice. If you can afford to pay, and you're looking primarily for an attorney that is cheaper than other, just because you don't want to pay a high amount, then that's a recipe for disaster. So I would say treat this at this time as you would if you were in a criminal proceeding, or if you're facing a major fine, or if you were in a civil proceeding. This is your life. This is life for your family. This is life moving forward. So definitely it's very important, because once you change your status, you can change your life. You don't want to be caught in a dragnet because you're trying to save a few pennies. All right. So.
Okay. So Let me ask you a question.
Yes, go ahead.
With the current state of America now, what are some current immigration statuses, and I'm risking deportation under current laws?
Well, basically, what I've been hearing, and you probably have seen, is a lot of those who are students. You probably heard about student visas, about the revocation of of their visas, or their statuses. That's been a push of the administration at least for the past 2 or 3 weeks. Now they have changed course to say, well, we're going to reinstate these statuses. Basically, what happened is that a lot of foreign students got emails saying the status is revoked. And so normally you say, well, if that happens, I have to leave. But a lot of lawyers, a lot of law firms got together and challenged and say, well, those actions were done without due process. And so luckily, there are a lot of lawsuits filed, and as a result, the policies were reversed, and those students are back in status. Those are things that are happening on different fronts. So it's key to remember that the administration may take steps and measures, and this is why you need to have your lawyers on standby to kind of know that it is happening to report, and happens to talk to them. So if you're not a U.S. citizen, whether you are a worker, you have a visa, you're a student, you're a green card holder, this is the time to say, well, who do I need and who do I want to have as my lawyer to be able to represent me or advise me if these things happen.
Especially with athletes that coming from to play different sports from other countries that's on scholarship. Are they revoking their scholarships, or how's that working for them now that's here?
So for those who play basketball and whatnot, I haven't heard of any direct problems per se for those for them, but there's always a risk involved. There's always this gray area. So a lot of times when athletes who are students travel out of the United States, I always say there's a risk coming back into the U.S. because one thing that we need to be mindful of is that there are 2 ways. One, you have the visa stamp. Mm-hmm. That visa stamp allows you to board the plane and come to the border and say, I'm coming into the U.S. as a student. There's another card of status is the I-94. That card says we're going to allow you into the U.S. for this period of time. So sometimes people say, well, I have a visa, it's revoked, and I say, okay, if the visa is revoked, you can remain in the U.S. as long as this I-94 is still within that period of time. If we get an email from the Department of Homeland Security saying that your I-94 and your F1 status in the U.S. has been revoked, then that's a whole other story. Now, depending on what country you're from, the visa stamp may be valid for 1 year, 5 years, or 10 years. So if you're from the Congo, your visa stamp is valid for maybe 3 months. If you're from Europe, France, maybe it's for 5 years. So if you're from a country where you have to go to the embassy every time you leave the country or after a while, then I'll say, well, limit your trips, because sometimes if you're going to London to play a game, or let's say you're from Sierra Leone, Nigeria, and you're part of the national team, but you leave and you need a visa stamp, you need to coordinate with your lawyer to make sure that wherever you're going, you're able to get that visa stamp there. So my thing is that this is the time where you need your counsel to sit down with you and say, look, what options do you have? Now, what we've been doing is looking at and saying, you know what, those who are athletes, you qualify for another type of visa. You will qualify for O visa or for a P visa. Maybe we can shift you off to another type of visa so that you're here, you're able to still be in school and still play. But those are some things that we have to talk about, because even if you get a P visa or a type of visa, that visa stamp is still limited to where you're from in terms of if you leave the U.S. to go back and get another visa stamp.
Yeah, because I was in Paris maybe 3 weeks ago for Fashion Week, And as I was getting ready to board the plane, they said, be careful with your passport, because after this point, after a certain amount of days, that they're going to be switching over to only visas. Like, you got to get a visa before coming in this country.
Okay, so that means now you're talking about U.S. citizens traveling to Europe. So basically, what happens normally is that Europeans and other countries, you can get this thing called a visa waiver.
Okay.
Basically, you go online and you apply, you get approved, 5 minutes or so to be able to come to the U.S. without a visa for up to 90 days. It used to be that, it still is now, that U.S. citizens can go overseas and they don't need anything. You show your passport, you go to France. Now, what the French and some other places are doing, you have to register and pay a fee, $70, I think. But it's valid for 1 year, 2 years or so to be able to come to Europe. So that is what they're doing, kind of mirroring what the U.S. Has, so that U.S. citizens can still. So that's what it means. Yeah.
Okay. So if ICE or the police stop me, what should I say or not say to protect myself legally?
Okay. I'm at a little bit of a different perspective on this. Some attorneys would say, well, you have the right to remain silent, you shouldn't speak. That is always the case. You have a right to remain silent. You have the right not to say anything, that will incriminate you. But I've also been seeing the level, of aggressiveness, by the officers, at the time of arrest. So part of me is like, okay, one, we can look at, what's the safety here too. And I always advise my clients, carry with you, your work permit documentation of what your status is and all those things. My approach was probably the same way if I were to advise someone who is a U.S. citizen and they were stopped. Do not engage or cause any unnecessary problem. We need you alive, we need you healthy so that we can represent you. So if this situation happens, I will say, I stopped you, say, sir, what is your name? You have proof of your documentation on you. You have proof of your work permit or your status. You can say, this is my lawful status in the U.S., this is what it is. That would be my advice. Now, that advice may be different from another client.
Right.
Who I may say, look, we're in a different situation, so do not resist, and just be quiet. Get in the car, if you can take me in, that's a different thing. But my thing is that minimal raising the level up where you are at danger of being hurt, or your family members are also being hurt. So if you're in the car with your kids and all these things, we also have to, I would say, look at the safety of the children.
Right.
You still don't have to say, the questions. You can say, I will require it. If you want to take me to wherever you want to take me, that's fine. But so it's not a one situation fits all. And so I'm just looking at the bigger picture, because it does me no good if the kids are hurt, you're hurt, and it just makes the situation tougher.
Yeah, because I was watching on Instagram, where ISIS showed up to these people, to this guy's house, without real proper documentation. He came out the back door and recorded them going into his house, and told him, like, oh, I'm illegal. Like, I'm legal. Why are you knocking on the door? Why are you trying to break in my house? And then he ended up talking his way up out of it. So what do you suggest in a situation like that?
In a situation like that, someone comes knocking on the door, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, you don't have to open the door.
Right.
The moment you open the door and say, can we come in? You let them in. All things are, it's free for all. So if you come to your house, my thing is you don't have to let them in. That's the law. You don't have to knock on the door. If for some reason someone lets them in, then that's a whole other situation there. But if you are not a U.S. citizen, or if you're in removal proceedings, or if there's something you think they might be coming to your house, this is where you sit down with your lawyer and say, look, what do I need to do now? If A, then B, then C. What's the process involved? How can we do X, Y, and Z? And so this is not, I would say, don't wait until they come to your house to start to prepare, what should I say? It should be a talk to say, okay, if this happens, what would be the backup plan? How do we move? Who should call me? And things like that.
Right. Okay. So we was talking about visa status.
Yeah.
So is there a way for me to legalize my status if I'm underdocumented but overstayed my visa?
So underdocumented, so I think that person means like, is there a way to regularize my status if I enter the country legally, but I overstayed my visa, my time period. So you came in, let's say, as a student, or let's say you came in as a visitor. And for a visitor, you get 6 months. If you overstayed that, the answer is yes. There's a way how. Now, I will, basically, I will sit down and say, okay, well, let's talk about it. Are you married? Do you have children? Is your child over 21? When did you come in? Have you ever been in removal proceedings? What's the situation around this? Now, if you're a student, you overstayed or you never went back, that's a little bit different because for a student, when you come in, your I-94 or your authorized period of stay says duration of status. It's not an end date per se like that. That's important. Versus someone who comes in as a student, as a visitor, you have 6 months. If you overstay that 6 months, every time you stay over that 6 months, it counts towards what is called a 3-year or 10-year bar. So if you overstay for more than 6 months and you leave, you can come back for 3 years. If you overstay for 1 year, you can't come back for 10 years. That's different if you enter as a student. So there are certain things I will sit down and say, okay, let's look at what we're looking at here, and let's see where you fit in. If you're married, have you ever been into deportation proceedings before? What are you looking at? Has anybody filed for you in 2001? Those are all questions I'll be asking to kind of see how best. But to answer your question is definitely that's where you sit down with an attorney and say, look, this is tell me what the landscape looks like.
Right.
If I can't do it now, but let's just say you get arrested or you put into legal proceedings, there might be options for you on the other end, because there's some applications you can apply for when you were only in deportation proceedings, not when you're not in deportation proceedings.
Right. So even with that, right, the documentation overstayed and stuff like that. So in the meantime, say I have got somebody pregnant or somebody got pregnant, and then I'm going through this court system. Is the baby affected, or the young lady affected, or the young male affected? How does that work?
So the U.S. citizens are not affected. U.S. citizen child is fine. The partner not affected. Now, if you're married to a U.S. citizen, then there are ways for you to obtain a green card. And the key word for that is at the time of the marriage, what was the intent? Some people say, well, I'm dating this girl, child, and I want to get married because, I always ask, okay, let's take away this. Do you want to spend the rest of your life together with that person? Is filing for your green card status expedited because now you need that to build that life together?
Right.
You just say, well, no, we're just trying to help each other. We're cool. And I'm like, well, then you haven't expressed that intent to be here. If you say, yes, in order for me to be here and build a life, I need to be able to work. I need to be able to do these things. And so we need for me to become regularized so that I can be able to carry out, and that's fine. The most important thing is that it cannot be solely for immigration purposes.
Right.
Another thing is that you marry someone solely for tax purposes, and that's not wrong. You can marry someone that says, I'm 65 years old, I'm marrying my nurse because I'm about to die and I want to make sure that she's secure. I want to make sure she gets all the stuff. That's not wrong. The key word, you cannot be married for immigration, just for immigration, solely. Now, it can be one of the several factors involved, but not solely for immigration purposes. My thing is, do not marry just for immigration purposes. Do not marry just pay someone to get married. No, it's not what I'm advocating for. Do not do it. If you get arrested, you'll be jailed, and any possible relief for applications that you apply for will be denied, regardless of whether or not second marriage is the best marriage at all. Do not do it. So my thing is that when you're sitting down and thinking, do not get married just for immigration purposes. That's solely for immigration purposes. You will get denied and arrested.
We don't want to do that.
No, you don't want to do that.
Are there any immigration program waivers or new laws I can apply under now in the administration have the administration changed?
The waivers are still there.
Okay.
All the applications are still there. Now, what has changed is the application of those waivers and processes. That means that basically, maybe under the Biden administration, it was a little bit more liberal in the application of the law.
Mm-hmm.
Under the Trump administration, they're reading it a lot more strict. So things you might have been able to get through with the past administration is just a little bit more tougher. So think about it as having a professor that is like just a lot more tougher than the other professor you had, where they're looking much more keener. Those interpretation proceedings, the policies where you could get your case dismissed, the government can work with you, those are no longer there, per se, but the opportunity to talk to the government and see if you can get your case dismissed is still available, but it's being applied very, very, very narrowly. So what we have here is just much more of the application, policy changes, how it's applied, and whether or not you will get a yes or no, or just a no answer. So that's what I'm saying.
Okay. And I got a couple more questions because this is deep right here.
Correct.
How long could it take for me to fix my status? And can I work legally while waiting?
I feel like I'm always saying yes and no, but the immigration law, and I'll tell you this, from my 21 years of practice, every situation sometimes I can tell someone no, and then turn around, same facts, a little bit changes, I can say yes. The answer, I need to do with yes. If you get married or to a U.S. citizen, you apply for a green card, you also have the right to apply to work. So technically, yes, you can work during that process. If you apply for asylum, if the application has been pending for 150 days, you apply for work. If you remove proceedings and you file these applications, you cancel your deportation, you can also apply for work. So the answer is yes. Now, if you enter the country without documentation, if you get married to a U.S. citizen, and that U.S. citizen files the first step for you, that doesn't automatically lead to work. So, as you say, there are different things from yes and no on that process. So, there's a possibility.
And it depends on the state as well, right?
Exactly. Well, that's state.
Oh, that's state.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you have a work permit, then that's fine. Now, if you have an ITN number and you're working, you're not supposed to be working, but if you're working, it's a lawful working, so you're not supposed to be doing that. My most important thing is working, do not claim to be a U.S. citizen. Do not check the box, the I-9 form, when it says, sir, are you authorized to work? You say, yes, I'm a U.S. citizen. If you do that, you check the box, and you're hiring, you're thinking that you're a U.S. citizen. Basically, there's no way. I mean, the waivers and the possibilities to overcome that, very slim. So you don't want to do that. I would say if you're working without authorization, work without authorization, do not claim to be a U.S. citizen. The unlawful working, that can be dealt with, but false claim to citizen for U.S. citizenship is a lot more tougher. Be careful on also when you apply for your driver's license. Some states will automatically register you to vote. You may have a box to check. Make sure whatever documentation you're applying, whether it's mortgage application, loan application, some officers some applications, some folks will just check out, U.S. citizen.
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell people, when you're applying for a loan or anything, when they give you that stuff back, make sure you look at it and say, I'm not a U.S. citizen, I'm a green card holder, or I have a work visa. Make sure that it's not automatically checked because it could be interpreted that you represent yourself as you see.
Right.
Yeah.
That's deep. What rights do I have if I'm stopped on the streets while driving? I know different places, different rules.
If you stop on the street, you're driving, it's going to be probably, by the sheriff, cops. It'll be, well, why were you stopped? Is it because you're speeding? I mean, what was it? So if you're stopped, my advice is comply with the law. The officer will ask you, sir, do you have a driver's license? Do you have insurance? Now, here's the thing. If you're in a jurisdiction that cooperates with ICE and immigration, you get stopped, you don't have a driver's license, or you're doing DUI, driving, like drinking, and they run your information and they detain you, chances are you will be placed into removal proceedings. That's what it's going to be. If you have an order of deportation and you get stopped, and the cops run your name or your prints, that order of deportation will come out as a federal warrant. So the cops are automatically going to say, what's this about? So what does that mean? If you know you got issues, you know you have a deportation order on one, don't be drinking driving.
Right.
And if you know your immigration status is questionable, be careful as you drive. Okay? You are not a U.S. citizen, and in this administration, they have made it very clear that if you're not a U.S. citizen, even a green card holder, your rights they're going to treat your rights as very limited. I mean, I agree with that, but that's the situation. That's the framework we're in. We must be able to adapt to that framework and be able to defend the work. But we as lawyers will need you, on the other hand, to understand what is at stake and what is happening now and comport yourself until we're at a stage where we can get you the legal status for your citizenship.
Gotcha. That makes perfect sense. So can I apply for any protection program like TPS, VAWA, DACA, or a U visa?
Yeah, so DACA, U visa, TPS, the answer is yes. I mean, depending on if you qualify.
Right.
So now you have temporary protected status. You got it from those from El Salvador, Haiti, Venezuela. But the thing is, those programs are not being renewed. They're usually valid, for 18 months. And the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security are the ones that basically will come out and say we are going to extend it. As we've seen, those countries, Haiti, Venezuela, their TPS, the Homeland Security has announced that they're going to end those programs. So they're ending. Cameroon ends June 7th. Haiti ends in August. So those things are not there anymore. The U visa is available for those who are victims of certain crimes. So if you've been a victim of a certain crime, blackmail or assault, definitely the key is to report it and then cooperate with law enforcement. That's key, because you can't apply for U visa without the cooperation of law enforcement saying that you helped. So you have to report the crime. If it's VAWA, if you're a victim, of abuse by a spouse, man or woman, you can apply, for that. The key word for VAWA is that you have to make sure that the marriage that you're basing the abuse on is a bona fide.
Gotcha. Are there any new executive orders or court cases that could affect my immigration case?
Well, there's a lot of school of court cases that have come down in the last 100 days. So the key is, well, what is your immigration status? So some of these cases that, okay, fine, they can't just pick you up and deport you. You gotta have a due process.
Right.
There's also some other cases that come up depending on what crimes you've committed. So the answer is yes. There's cases that have come down good and bad. And I think I want to just emphasize to folks is like, as I tell folks whenever they come to talk with me, I say, look, at the end of this consultation or this process, the goal is for you to see what your options are and for you to know about it. If you feel like, you know what, I'm ready to go forward and I want to hire you, it won't happen. But my goal is that at the end of our talk, When I sit down, you would know what options are available to you so that you can sit down and think about it and plan. So that if A happens, then B happens, then you know how to act. It's a possibility where there might not be anything that could be done for you at this moment, but there might be an opportunity 4 years from now, 3 years from now. So the best thing is to have knowledge as to what your current options are and what you can or what you can't do. That would be the liberation we need. Okay?
Gotcha. So should I avoid traveling outside of the States or flying domestically for right now? Because this is definitely a major question because I have a lot of family members that are going including me also. I'm going to Italy. You got people going to Bali, Dubai. And right now it's scary. It's kind of scary because people say, oh, don't take your phones. They're going through your phones. Don't do this. They're going through this. Get on WhatsApp. Don't talk through the internet because it's a whole bunch of stereo things going on that's scaring you from even trying to go over there. So can you speak on that?
U.S. citizens, as a traveler, you're a U.S. citizen, green card holder, travel. Now, the part about the searching the phones, someone had asked me about it, and I, kind of did some research. Just cursory research on it. And, Border Protection, they do have the authority to ask to search your phone. Now, you as a U.S. citizen can say, no, I'm not going to. You have the right to say no. But then, you just have to understand that that's going to lead into, well, sir, we need to hold you a little bit longer. We need to get your phone. You can you can say, no, I don't want my phone to be, or what's the reason for that? There's only one federal judge in New York that have said that you have a right not to have your phone search coming into you. Just one judge. But most other federal judges, courts have said, well, there's some latitude where CBP, Border Protection, can search your phone. So the question is, well, if you're coming into the country, do you have your phone up and open? Do you have your phone tucked away? Do you have it somewhere else? So as you come in, probably print your ticket, probably put your phone away, go through security. If your phone is open, it's kind of like it's an open show. Imagine if you're coming into the country for, say, Jamaica, Trinidad, and they stop you and say, sir, and you look in your bag. Well, it's your private stuff. You can look to search if there's anything in there. And the rationale is that kind of idea also extends to your phone. Now, for lawyers or other people who have sensitive information here, I would say, look, I have my client's information, I have X, Y, and Z. So sometimes, that might be a reason why I might say no, because of issues that's in there. But as a U.S. citizen, if this happens, the officer might be a little bit off or coming towards you. It's just say why. And I wouldn't say stand your ground, but get a clear understanding why is it that your phone needs to be searched, what's the reason for it, what have you done wrong, and those things like that.
And what would they be looking for in your phone? Like through your photos or something? Because
they could be looking to see if you are espousing views, that might be against, that might be against Jews. That's the big subject.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been setting information in support of groups that are against the U.S.?
So they're literally checking your social media pages.
They are searching, and they're asking your handles. And in fact, if you're applying for your citizenship or green card and those things, they are asking for your social media handouts.
Right.
Just so that you can check to see what have you been sharing and what you've been sending. Because the whole idea is to see if you're espousing views that are contrary to the U.S. or if you're providing any support to organizations that might be classified as terrorist groups. So those are things to be mindful of. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't travel at all.
Right.
But the key is to be mindful of what's going on so you're able to decipher what the situation is. Now, if you are heavily politically active, and my question is that if you are thinking about traveling and you're heavily political activist, you are participating in organizations that the administration might feel that is contrary, to your views, then what's the key thing to do? Is to engage a lawyer immediately so that you're aware. So these are just kind of precautionary things. You don't go and say, well, I'm just going out hoping to see what happens, and if it happens, then look what happened to me.
Right.
Those are things that you have to prepare. If you think you might be questioned, or if there's anything that you're afraid of, then you'll talk to a lawyer and say, why do you be afraid? If A and B happens, what am I right and what do I do?
Gotcha. Because I have a friend. He went to he moved to Tanzania. Tanzania, am I pronouncing that correct? But he was like, he was fine. But then I got another friend that flew out to Kuwait.
Yes.
And he was like, yeah, they was looking at my phone. He couldn't tell me what they was looking for. So I was like, well, next time I travel, because I'm going out the country as well, do I need to delete and log everything out of all my accounts? It just, what they do ask me, there's nothing showing.
Well, some people have, burner phones. Some people have, other phones. Some
I
people
can't afford a burner.
all the other things in there. So, basically what they're looking for is that are you engaged in any activities that they have assumed to be contrary to U.S. views.
Gotcha.
And what they're looking at. And trust me, if they're looking at the phones or trying to check, probably, because, whenever you travel, they have a list.
Yeah.
The manifest. And they'll look at the names and say, well, where you going, how often have you gone to this country and whatnot. And, law enforcement have their profile.
Yeah, because I have been on another recent trip when I was going out of the country. They had told me I got selected random, and they just started asking me a bunch of questions. How long you been here? Where you going? Did you get any food? Did you touch this?
Yeah.
Why was you here? Like, it says business and personal. Yeah. And I was like, how did you get my name? He said, well, you just got randomly selected off of the list. Does that happen often to other people? I mean, I was fine with the questions, but I was also puzzled. Like, I was the first one in line.
Yeah. It's a random search. Sometimes it's random. Sometimes you look at your travel history. And if you're going to the same place over and over, short period of time, they might say, well, what's his job? What is he doing? Why is he traveling so often? And law enforcement have that latitude to question, to check, to make sure that we're safe.
Right.
So I'll say be mindful of that. I don't necessarily think that because you're questioning stop, it means that, oh my God, I'm not traveling again. I'm just saying that you need to be prepared. Now, we all know the current environment that we live in, so nothing should be surprising. And I think the government and administration have been very clear what their priorities are.
Right.
And my advice is to take them at the word and to be able to say, okay, this is what I can expect, and this is how I need to prepare myself moving out. So if I'm coming in and I stop, then how do I conduct myself? How do I get the information that's necessary to be warned? That'll be my advice. That'll be my advice. So what the foundation is, and what we could expect. So we cannot be surprised when some of these things happen. And I would say this: it's being applied is an equally applied process, regardless of whether you're Black, white, Asian, Chinese. It's being applied across the board. What that means is that they're not. Their policy is that everybody will be asked these questions. Everybody will be screened, and it's being applied to the court. So,
yeah, it happened because it was me. I think it was because me and him was the first two in line, and we was coming back from Paris, and we was the only two in line. So soon they say come through the gate. He was a Caucasian guy, and I was a Black guy, and I'm used to getting searched because I travel with a bunch of camera equipment, so I know from TSA all the way to the gate they search. So he was a little like disgruntled, like, why? What'd I do? Why do I look like a criminal? And I was more like, hey, whatever y'all need, I just want to get on this plane.
And I would say, for those who are non-citizens who are coming into the U.S., I wouldn't say we're used to it, but it's just like this is how most countries out of the U.S. That's how they carry out.
Right.
You come off a plane, you search the stuff, you move on, and you know how to respond and you know how to move on.
Right.
So I'll say that I also treat it in the environment as maybe is where you're coming from, where you get stopped. You know what the officer is going to ask you, you respond, and you move on. You can cause a lot of issues. Not that you want to be passive or docile. It's just that we all understand what's the environment you're in. And I think we have to pick our resistance or fight or whatever it is, properly.
So another question. I got 2 more questions, or 3 more. Can I file taxes while undocumented, and will that help my immigration?
Well, as you read or heard, the Department of Homeland Security had access now to records of folks who are not documented. Now, my advice is that within the U.S., you are benefiting from the infrastructure, the services, sometimes roads and all things. So my thing is, if you've been filing taxes, your information will be there. Will it help your immigration status if you file taxes? When you're applying, your renewal proceedings, deportation proceedings, yes, that's a positive factor. So you want to file your taxes. A client asked me, well, what should I do? I said, well, I don't want you to say not to file taxes because you have to file taxes. Now, we just need to prepare, like, what is the plan of action if, in fact, an ICE officer shows up at your door?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a legal document that allows your daughter to access your bank accounts and other things like that? What applications will be filed for, if this happens? That's my approach. My approach is like sometimes we already know what the big situation is. Now, how are we going to fix it if it happens? So I would not say don't file taxes. I would say if you've been filing taxes, just assume that you have the information and the information is there. If you have a social security number, if you apply for ITIN number, all those things are there. So, I would say do what you like, follow the law.
Mm-hmm.
If the law says file it, file it. If the law says don't speed, don't speed. I would say don't not break the law as a means to try to avoid being targeted.
Okay, this one got this. I got this a text. They watching right now, right?
Perfect. Bring it on.
So how about if I don't have a lawyer, I need a number or a lawyer that can do pro bono, and are there numbers you can report that will help that you've been picked up by ICE?
Okay. Pro bono lawyer. The question is, there's a lot of organizations now, Catholic charities, and those groups that provide pro bono services. Now, funding has been cut. A lot of those organizations, so they're limited. My thing is that you probably need to find a good lawyer that you can work with and say, here's the reason why I need a pro bono lawyer. Not just I need a pro bono lawyer because I'm paid. He said, why do you need a pro bono lawyer? And speak with that lawyer and say, this is what I can afford. Here's the reason why. Maybe you have, maybe you're ill. Maybe you have 10 kids. Maybe you're not working. Maybe you're trying to leave. Some lawyers provide no bono services or payment structures. Okay, but in this situation, I think engaging with a lawyer, at least if you pay for a consultation for a lawyer and you talk to the lawyer about it, say this is what I need, then you have someone there for you. If you get picked up, you definitely have a lawyer's number, speed out, or at least have your wife or your husband or family members who can contact that lawyer, for you. But I would say there are organizations that do pro bono work, but their funding has been cut. So now, my thing is you need to find a lawyer that is within your budget and within your expertise, and that you can trust and say, you know what, maybe you're not in removal proceedings now, but maybe you can start paying towards just having a lawyer on standby, just so that if it happens, then you have someone that that you can reach out to.
Okay, final question.
Yes, sir.
How concerned should naturalized citizens be with the new administration immigration policy, and should we do anything to safeguard ourselves and our family members?
Okay, good. Well, you're a U.S. citizen. I don't. There's nothing else that you can do per se. Now, what I do know is that the government has said that they will be looking into those who are naturalized and whether or not they properly obtain their naturalization documentation. So, if you obtain your green card by mistake, or if you obtain your green card in a way where you're like, you know what, this is a little bit suspect. Now, there's a process in taking away your naturalization process. So it's not just going to happen, just like that. This is where I would say, be honest with yourself and say, you know what, maybe I should kind of, just speak with a lawyer confidentially and say, this is what it is. If this happens, then what I need. But if you got your documentation and there's no concerns about it, then I'll say you're a naturalized citizen. You're in here. There's not much else that you can do. Definitely, we all will be keeping our ears, eyes open to see if, in fact, the government makes true to their decision to start looking into individuals' files and starting the denaturalization process. So that's something that they have hinted at. That's something they've said. And so I take them at the word. So for now, let's just keep our eyes and ears open, but continue to do what you're doing, and all be well.
All right, we want to say thank you for joining us and let them know once again where they can find you to help with all this stuff, especially where we at Fenton.
Perfect. So Georgia Avenue, 8121 Georgia Avenue, Suite 650. The phone number is 301-562-7995. On social media, my handle is Neuville Law, NEUFVILLE Law. So if you search that, you will find my social media, my website, my videos, everything you need to know about me. Call me. We'll look forward to talking with you. We'll look forward to meeting with you. I provide, I offer either a half an hour session or 4 hour where you can talk about your kids by video, in person, by phone. So call me, Neuville Law. I'm located Georgia Avenue. I have clients all around the U.S., Florida, California, New York. This is what I've been doing for the last 21 years. This is my concentration. This is my expertise. This is what I do best. So I look forward to speaking to you.
Thank you. Now it's time to get ready for the new one.
All right.
Commercial break.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
Make a strong first impression and connect you with the target audience.
In the sky, you know how I feel.
I'm confident that I can help you achieve your goals.
Drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new
I have a deep
dawn.
understanding of the needs of an entrepreneur.
It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a journey that's deeply personal and sometimes challenging. But trust me when I say it's never too late to start. But little did I know that my journey would lead me here, sharing my thoughts and stories with you.
Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new life. I'm feeling
And welcome back. We are here in Fenton Village, and our next guest is.
Hey, what's up, guys? I didn't get it up in time.
Keep going.
Oh, keep going.
Yeah, while you talk to it.
My name is Ala. I'm one of the co-owners of Pure Panic, the comics and game store in downtown Silver Spring. So I was trying to be a bit artistic to start us off, but that is not it at all. But we'll keep it at Pure right now, and then we'll write Panic right here, because that's how I do it. Pure Panic all the time. There we go. Pure Panic. And here we are.
In a panic.
Yeah, in a panic, always. That's just kind of how we do it. But yes, thank you guys for having me. Super excited to be here. I understand I might have some questions to answer to start.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Let me pull them up.
I can introduce us first.
Yes, introduce yourself.
So the way I want to make sure people know about us is we're community-focused center first. We're here to serve the community as best as we can. And we're a business second, and hopefully by being a community first, we end up making enough money just to stick around. And that's really our goal. Our location has been a comic book store for upwards of 40 years, as I understand. It started with Jeppy's, then Alliance, and then Prodigal, and then Pure Panic, unaffiliated with any of the last businesses, but still very much trying to continue the legacy of what came before us. That location has been a very important spot for the community for so long that it was really important to me and my co-owner, Grady, who you might have seen on promo materials. He is working dutifully at the shop right now. And Grady has worked and also been an owner of previous iterations. But today we are at Pure Panic, and Grady and I are the only owners currently. Grady is kind of the comic side. He's an expert on all things comics. He'll super impress you. I try to come in with the game side. I've had a company selling TCGs online, but I didn't really appreciate the cold nature of it, not interacting with people in person. And already we've been open since April 4th, and being able to interact with people when selling games is a game changer. So that's kind of what we offer right now. Pretty much any type of things you need to read, from graphic novels, comics. We even have some traditional books in store at some point. So all that, and that's the comic side, which takes up most of the store. But we have plenty of gaming, which it comes to Magic, the TCG game Magic, Pokemon TCG, Star Wars, Disney's new game Larkana, Flesh and Blood, though that doesn't seem to be as popular in the region as I might have expected. But also we have plenty of D&D materials. As I'm speaking right now, we are training a group of adults and children to play Magic for the first time. It's a free event we put on by two people who are very experienced in the game. And it's all pretty exciting for us. Again, like the idea of being a community center where people can come and play games. They can even we have a Beats show planned. We're trying to be a community space for all things to bring the community together, and comics and games are just two of the ways that we are attempting to do that.
All right. So what card games or conventions happen around here locally that we should know about?
Ooh, quite a bit, actually. I'm pleasantly surprised by how the Civic Center has operated. That's where the hockey rink is. If you're not familiar, there's event space in there. Something called HanaCon that I recently learned about is going to take place in June 7th, but don't quote me on that. June 7th, there's HanaCon, and a few months ago, there was a sports and TCG card show. Those are the only two that I've currently been around, but I do know that the Civic Center is a hub for a lot of really cool events that I'm really excited to get into learning about more and more as I'm more and more part of the community. I've lived in Silver Spring for 7 years now personally, and Grady, my co-owner, has been born and raised here, so he's a lifelong Silver Springer. I hope that's the right name for us. But on top of that, because of COVID and being here mostly during COVID times, I have not done a great job of keeping up with the events downtown, which I completely regret, because there's so many fun things. I'm only learning about them more and more as I'm more part of the community. But I always should have been part of it before. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
How do you help people find new comics, or any recommendations on finding new comics?
That's one of our favorite parts of the job, if I'm being honest. It's almost a universal experience. I always ask the question. I always say, "Hey, welcome in." I'm kind of like a broken record when I say, "Can I help you find anything?" Because first and foremost, I want to address if people are looking for something specific. But what follows after that, most people are not looking for something specific. Most people are in just to kind of scope the place out. We're brand new, interesting, shiny things. We have plenty of shiny things. Recently been told that I should do less shiny things so that people aren't tempted to grab them and buy them. But I insist on shiny things because I also love them. But the question that comes up after, are you looking for anything specific? Usually is, well, if you have any questions or need any recommendations, let me know. And they usually say, okay. If I see them looking at something, I'll follow up and say, hey, X, Y, and Z. But really, my goal is to open the door for them to ask for recommendations first and foremost. And if they approach us with anything, that's where the conversation starts. I don't want to ever impose on anyone. But when it comes to recommendations, anyone that opens that door, Grady is really the best source. Though I think I have some fun picks for myself when I recommend things. But Grady is genuinely one of the most well-read people I've ever met, and I've met very well-read people. So Grady will, find out who you are, what you're interested in, and a lot of times he'll find a comic within DC or Marvel. But we're really moving our focus away from DC and Marvel and more independent comics. We're actually talking to some local artists and comic writers that are hoping to publish and sell in our store. So for us, our recommendations first start with who you are and what you're interested in. And we're going to find you something unique in that world. Obviously, Marvel and DC have a lot to offer, Image as well. But more and more, we want to move to more independent and small publishers that offer really, really beautiful things that I think people are missing out on.
All right. And then, how was your grand opening? How did you feel about that? I know it was recently.
I can't even begin to tell you. It was one of the most exciting weekends of my life, I think. We were as busy as I could have ever imagined. Kind of it made every other day seem slow, despite us never really having an empty store. And I think the community, I don't think we've done anything to earn this amount of love. I think the community has come to us and shown a lot of, I think, just welcoming energy. A lot of people have just walked in and says, I'm so excited for you guys to be here, saying things like, thank you so much for, continuing on the comic book store type thing, just thanking us. We haven't even done anything. We've been open less than a month, and people have just come in, wanted to buy things that they might be perfectly interested in, but just to support. And really, I can't thank people who have just been in the store and not even bought anything enough, because even the people who just walked in have been instrumental to us just by them saying, oh, I really love reading this thing, but you don't have it. I order it right away, because if you tell me you're interested in something, it means I want it in the store. Other people might be interested and don't know it yet, etc. But we have been welcomed with such open arms, and I'm overwhelmed with love.
So how do you feel about your business in Fenton Village and the history of Fenton Village?
Yeah, I mean, what Fenton Village as an initiative, you guys have been talking to us quite a bit, and it's for us, it's been honestly humbling to be part of this, right? Because obviously Silver Spring is historic in its own way, but specifically Fenton Village, I mean, since I've lived here since 2017, 2018, I can't remember. I've been a patron of Fenton Village through all downtown Silver Spring, but specifically Fenton Village. I mean, Alliance and Prodigal, the previous iterations themselves have been very important to me, as I've brought any time I bring a friend into town, I make sure to take them to Alliance and Prodigal at the time. And so Fenton Village has been an instrumental part of like the tours I've given to my friends in the past since I've been living here. So it's hard to really talk about how significant it is, because it's a part of almost my daily life every time I'm out. So
Gotcha. Is there any, like, I'm an arcade guy.
yeah.
So I like arcade games. I know y'all got one arcade machine in there. Are y'all planning on adding more than just board games and more arcades into it?
We're setting up some video games. We probably won't explicitly sell them, but again, as a community space first, we're gonna have video game based events where you can come play Mario Kart or play Smash, or for the uninitiated, Smash Brothers or Smash Ultimate, whatever. There are a bunch of different iterations. So a lot of Nintendo games mainly, but we're also going to do some Sega games, potentially PlayStation and Xbox, but that is more in the future. But initially, we're going to start with a lot of Nintendo games, and I think almost everybody's played Mario Kart, so we're going to have a lot of Mario Kart tournaments. I'm always humbled when I play against someone who's really good, because I always think myself is really good, but I play someone who's actually good, and I'm humbled. So we're going to have some amateur tournaments where it doesn't feel like you're a little kid in a varsity football team, and we're gonna have some more professional level events with prizes, and for both. Every event we're gonna have, we're hoping to have free stuff to give out and also prizes. So to answer your question, will we have more games? Yes, of the video nature. I'm hoping to get us 2 or more, like 2 or 3 maybe arcades, but it all depends on the space. A lot of our space is moving parts right now, and because of that, I'm not fully sure. But to say that we'll have arcades, we'll have video games, that is a definite yes.
Okay, so how do you help people learn how to play these card games?
Right.
Because I grew up with Dungeons and Dragons,
Yes,
and
yes.
was it Warcraft? Warcraft.
Yeah, the WoW online. Yeah, I never got into WoW. That's what I call it, World of Warcraft, I think. All my friends were into it, and I felt like, oh, I'm so cool. I'm not doing the thing everyone else is doing.
Right.
But I wish I'd learned it because it's a cultural cornerstone. But to say that is, like I mentioned earlier, we're right now, as I'm speaking, having a Learn How to Play Magic event from 1 to 4 today. We're probably going to have it reoccurring maybe twice per month or maybe monthly, so that if you don't know how to play Magic, if you don't know how to play Disney's Lorcana, we're seeing how interested people are in Star Wars and Flesh and Blood. But if they are, we're definitely hoping to introduce learning sessions for those as well. But for now, you can count on Pokemon and Magic sessions happening. We're also going to do learn how to be a DM sessions for Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to have learn how to play D&D, the mechanics, the math, how to build your character. All these fundamental elements of playing card games, board games, or the like, we believe it's our job as Comics and Game Center to teach the community. And like I was saying, talking about the Magic event right now, all of our learning events will be free, always. If you're learning to play, it's free. I can't guarantee all the tournaments will be free because there might be an entry fee or whatever based on demand. But like I said, we're a business second and a community center first. Yeah. So we're just hoping, like I said, we'll make money by accident if all things go according to plan.
That's a good accident.
I appreciate it.
That's a real good accident. I'm not mad at that accident.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not against money. It's just, I think if we're focused on money, we might forget our community, and I don't want to do that.
Gotcha. And I'm going back to your grand opening because I happen to be there.
Yeah.
How did you feel the community received your grand opening?
So, in terms of sales, I mean, surpassed my expectations times 10. Maybe. I mean, it helped us get future orders set up. It helped us make the store more ready. I mean, that grand opening, put the money aside, the words we got, the joy we saw, the enthusiasm we felt. I mean, Grady has been a part of Alliance and Prodigal Games for 5 years at least, since the beginning of the pandemic, is what I understand, or around then, not at the start of it. But Grady himself expressed this type of almost unprecedented attendance type thing, where he said he's never seen this many people. Maybe the exception being Free Comic Book Day, which is coming up on May 2nd. Don't miss it. We'll have plenty of free comics. But that's the type of reception we got. And, I touched on it, but I think I can't reiterate enough how welcome we feel. And I wish I could go and thank literally every person that's come in. Because it's been a game changer for us already. Like our business plan before the grand opening and after are two different things. So
another question. While we on a roll right here.
Yeah, I love questions.
Mm-hmm.
I can talk all day. You don't even have to ask me. I'll just go.
Oh, okay. Hey,
But you tell me questions, I'll answer them.
what are some future plans for Pure Panic?
So, as I've alluded to, we have some plans to bring in Warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you're specifically familiar, but Warhammer is a game where you have miniatures that are usually fairly high quality. They don't have to be. They're made by Games Workshop. And if my rep with Games Workshop sees this, he'd be pretty excited. But we're hoping to start becoming an official store for them. We'll have all the essentials with paints, with miniatures, the most popular miniatures, and we can do special orders for people. We can have events in our basement. We have a pretty big basement. It's as big as the top floor, but emptier. And in our basement, we're going to have like painting sessions. You can watch a movie and do painting, or watch a sporting event and do paint, whatever. You'll pay one cover charge and you can use whatever paint you need. That's part of our future plans. We're going to have open D&D tables. So what that means is you can sign up for a certain time slot and you can come play D&D with your friends. I'm hoping that we can set it up where we can offer snacks and drinks, not necessarily alcoholic, but just something to snack on when you're playing, you get hungry. We're not a full restaurant or anything, but we'll offer whatever the county allows. And that's kind of the two main focuses as far as the future goes, but we are very truly and actively making an effort to be an official play store for Pokemon, Magic, and Lorcana. And what that means is we'll get new sets or releases 2 weeks or whatever, some amount of time early. And what that means for our community is they get to experience those things earlier, try out the new cards, the new set, play a tournament with these new things. Specifically, my world is Pokemon. I play Pokemon competitively. The TCG, not the video games, the Pokemon Go. Those are other competitive avenues you can go. But my focus is really the trading card game. And what it means to be an official Pokemon Play Store is right now Pokemon is having a cultural moment where it is very, very popular to the point where it's inaccessible. So what I really hope that people know, actually, this is something I should have said at the front, and something I want everyone to hold me accountable to. If I buy something at wholesale pricing, which isn't everything that I get from my distributors, but if we bought it at release at distributor pricing, I will never sell it above MSRP. That is my promise to all of our TCG fans and comics. I mean, I'm not gonna sell anything bought at wholesale price above cover price for that. So all that is to say that right now, to be a Pokemon fan is to struggle to find product, and when you're struggling to find product, it becomes frustrating. So what my mission is, part of opening my own game store, is to make Pokemon more accessible. And we have a Patreon that you should all check out. Our Patreon is focused not on making money, though we will accept money. We have tiers and we have rewards for people who pay. That is definitely there, but you could be a free member. And I tell everybody that's interested in Pokemon specifically, but also derivatively Magic and Lorcana, this applies to them as well. If you want to get any of the new sets or new releases, join as a free Patreon member, and I'm going to make an announcement. I promised people a newsletter is coming for a while, but I want to make it perfect, and that's why it hasn't come in. So the newsletter hasn't come in, it hasn't gone out yet, I should say, because it's not quite perfect, but it's coming very close. But in that newsletter, I'll announce our Patreon. The way to get new products and to guarantee yourself new products is Patreon members get priority. It doesn't matter if you pay $1 million or $0. It depends on how long you've been a patron. And the reason we do this is to make sure that our community gets new release products first, instead of people coming from out of town just trying to scout. I mean, anyone around the trading card world right now knows the term. I mean, even if you're part of any other collector cultures, scalpers are a problem. And the only way I could sell at MSRP, and also, or for the uninitiated, also MSRP is manufacturer suggested retail price, which is kind of what what you see on the back of anything you buy sometimes. Those would be the MSRP. But if we're going to sell it at an accessible price and also sell it to our community, we have to find a way to make sure you're part of the community without discriminating against anybody. So the way we're doing that is please join our Patreon, because when you've been a part of our Patreon for as long as you have, then that shows us that's how long you've been with the community, and you're not just jumping in right now. So those are things that are important to us. Like I said, that just to recap, we're going to have Warhammer be featured. We're going to do a lot of D&D sessions. There's going to be paid DMs. We're going to pay people to be dungeon masters, and the players can pay to. I know it sounds silly, but that's what it is.
No, I'm into it. That's
I love that. That's super cool. So we're going to have we're going to pay people to host games, and then you can attend and have professionally organized D&D games. And Grady would be very upset with me if I didn't mention that we're not only going to do D&D. Grady himself is a fan of GURPS, which is a game I'm not as familiar with, but I'm learning from Grady quite a bit. But there are other titles, and we're actually having conversations with people about doing locally created tabletop games from local artists. I mean, I think I've touched on this a little bit, but local artists, local creators, local everything, anything that's from the region, from the area, will be prioritized for us. And we will want to sell your products. We want everyone to see how amazing our community is, and we want to be the showcase for that. So I interrupted my own recap. To recap, D&D, Warhammer through workshop games, official play events. So the play events for Pokemon, Magic, and Disney Volcana, where you can play before that, you can buy the sets and play before the set officially comes out. Would have to be official for that. And then, which we're working on. And the last thing is the Patreon. To make sure you're part of the community, just book that in. You can join as a free member, and it's as good to us as anything. We'll obviously appreciate any money, but that's not the point. The point of our Patreon is just to show, hey, I am part of this community. I love Pure Panic enough to sign up for their Patreon. And when we want to sell new sets or new product that is hard to get, we will first reach out to our Patreons. Those will have priority in sales.
Are you going to have like a Pokemon Go competition?
So some people have been talking about that. I used to be very involved in Pokemon Go. It drained me of all money that ever existed. And so I took a break. I'm back to playing now. So, but I'm catching up to kind of what things are like right now in Pokemon Go. And I'm hoping to set up either a gym or a Pokestop where people can come. And just, it's one of those spinny things, you know, on the game. If you play Pokemon Go, you might know. But we want to do something with Pokemon Go. But to answer your question, I'm not sure because I need to learn more.
Gotcha. And my last question, right?
Yeah.
Because I grew up watching Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
Y'all have like Yu-Gi-Oh! Competitions with the cards?
So yes and no. I don't think there are enough people that are interested. You can encourage your friends. We do sell Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the one I haven't mentioned yet. So we sell Star Wars, TCG, Flesh and Blood, Yu-Gi-Oh! Are all a big part of what we're hoping to do. But those smaller games that are not as active, people haven't asked for them enough. The people who have bought Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards, I'll tell you what, nobody's bought Flesh and Blood. I think one person has bought Flesh and Blood, which is quite a popular game, but that's okay. But the sales of the TCGs will tell us what to prioritize. Right now, far above and beyond anything else, it's Magic and Pokemon. So I'll wrap up if I need to.
Oh, I would just seem like it was.
No, of course, yeah. I mean,
oh, you're right on time.
Downtown Boxing is coming up after me.
Yeah,
they are super cool. I need to start boxing. All the businesses I'm excited to learn more about, but I got to see a little bit of Downtown Boxing, and let me tell you, they have a cool gym. The owner's super cool. I can't encourage you guys enough. Please check them out because being good at boxing is kind of cool. I did kickboxing for a while, and I wanted to be better at my punches instead of my kicks. So that's where Downtown Boxing is going to come in the clutch for me. So But yeah, I'll wrap up there. There's always a lot more to talk about. Please come visit us. Please, especially if you're local. We want nothing more in the world than to get to know you. Make sure the stuff you look for in general that you want to buy are in the store, and that we make it a safe space for you to come and be. The last thing I'll say is we are working on becoming an official safe space. We'll give you more details on that when it's official, but if that's something that's relevant to you, we are working on becoming that as well. So,
amen to that. So I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
And let them know once again where you're located at.
All right.
And your social media handles.
Yes. So on Instagram, we are Pure Panic CG. That's the best way to get updates from us right now. We have a website, but that's a bit in flux because we might be moving over to another website through a different domain host. But our website for now is www.purepaniccg. That's as in like Charlie George at the end. Pure Panic Comics and Games CG. So purepaniccg.com. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. Pure Panic CG, the Instagram handle. Those are the best two places right now. And on Patreon, Pure Panic CG. Please just sign up for free. You don't have to give us money, but it's the best way to let us know that you're a fan of ours and you'll get priority on new releases.
All right. Thank you. Now it's time for a commercial break.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
Make a strong first impression and connect you with the target audience.
In the sky, you know how I feel.
I'm confident that I can help you achieve your goals.
Drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new
I have a deep
dawn.
understanding of the needs of an entrepreneur.
It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a journey that's deeply personal and sometimes challenging. But trust me when I say it's never too late to start. But little did I know that my journey would lead me here, sharing my thoughts and stories with you.
Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new life. I'm feeling
And now we got Mr. Aaron from Downtown Boxing joining us today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Aaron Herencia. I am the owner and head coach of Downtown Boxing Club. It's a pleasure to be here today. Who am I? Aaron Herencia, as I said. And what am I going to be talking about? I'm going to be talking about boxing as a whole, and specifically about what we do at Downtown Boxing Club. But first, I got some trivia for y'all. Just a couple of questions, see how much you know about boxing. So please, Sean.
I have Gene Eugene he's looking over it, so he'll be able to tell me what you got question.
All right. But please, Sean, let me see that first question.
Oh,
Yeah, come on.
my bad.
It's okay. All right. So which are the six types of punches in boxing? Think about it. 6 of them. Oh, come on. You just gave him the answer. Relax.
I got excited.
Do you have anyone, Sean? Anybody else saying something?
What
What about you, Sean? Do you know what are the 6 basic punches in boxing?
Uppercut,
Okay. Yes.
jab.
Yes.
Is it short jab count?
Nah.
Hook.
Hook.
You got a
okay.
hook. What about a body shot?
No. There's
Right.
one more. Because, technically, there's, lead,
Jab.
right and left hook, right and
Hook.
left uppercut.
Yeah. Uppercut.
Think about it this way, right? So, like, the jab is straight, right?
Right.
And then the hooks come from the side. And then the one underneath,
Uppercut.
you're missing a straight punch.
A straight punch. Oh, it's straight.
Straight, or also known as cross. You can hit
Cross.
it with the next slide, right?
Okay. Bam.
Yeah, you have You have 6 basic punches in boxing, right?
I only got 3 in real life.
Yeah, it's
haymaker.
technically 3 types, you know. But yeah, you know, like me, I'm a right-handed boxer, so I lead with my left. So you have your jab, which is your straight left hand. You have your cross, which is your straight right hand. Then you have your lead hook, which is my left hook, my back hook, which is my right hook, my lead uppercut on the left, my right uppercut on the right. You have an overhand, but that's a lesson for another day. Here with the next question.
Boom. Here we go.
Which are the 2 countries that have had a world champion in every weight division?
Dominican Republic. No, not Mexico.
That's one.
Mexico.
Damn, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Because I know there's a lot of boxers that come out of Mexico. They breathe. They have a lot of great fighters that literally come in different weight classes, especially middleweight to lightweight, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And
that's one.
the U.S. count.
The U.S. counts, but it's not one of them.
Okay, so
The U.S. doesn't have a lot of boxers in like the very, very low
I'm
weight divisions.
gonna take a shot at this one. Another country. So I'm gonna say Japan.
Not a lot of heavyweights coming out of Japan. I'll give it to you. The other country is Puerto Rico. So Mexico and Puerto Rico.
That would be like my fifth because I was gonna go Russia first. I consider Puerto Rico and Mexico in the same category.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Because in baseball, like when I played growing up playing baseball,
Okay.
that's how they always grouped everybody. Like, you're right.
Yeah, because like, I mean, obviously, like the U.S. is such a powerhouse in boxing. So is Russia. But often what you see in the U.S., Russia, they dominated like the medium to bigger guys, but they don't have a lot of folks that are kind of like,
And that makes sense because when you watch a lot of boxing, especially with the Olympics, their focus is like the heavyweights, the middle heavyweights, then up to heavyweights, just like the U.S.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just recently that the 170, 160 weight class and under now is really popular.
Yeah. But like you can even look at like, the monster from Japan.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
121 pounds. Doesn't get a lot of love because smaller guys, but a lot of talent in that division. Anyways, hit me with the next question.
Okay. Oh, that was the answer.
That was the
Oh, I didn't even look at the answer.
How long are the rounds in professional boxing? Professional boxing.
3 minutes.
Dun, 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 dun. That's the right answer. 3 minutes. You can hit me with the answer. It's a very long time, 3 minutes. But anyways, enough with the trivia. Where are we moving on? We're starting with the benefits of boxing. All right. The very first one that we're going to talk about, and you can hit me with the next slide, are going to be the physical, right? Obviously, it's a full body workout. Improves your cardiovascular health, your strength, your coordination, your agility, and reflexes. I really make sure that I underline the coordination aspect. I feel like whenever you go into, maybe you go to the gym and you lift your weights, like that is great. But practicing a sport like boxing, or really any other sports, it's going to engage you at a higher level, involving your coordination, your reflexes, and your agility. You can hit me with the next slide. Then the mental. Obviously, it's a stress relief. Hitting a heavy bag takes care of a lot of stress. Your mental toughness. Boxing is a challenge. It's a constant conflict, and going through it makes you stronger mentally. Improve focus and discipline. Even body discipline, being aware of your body and how it moves. It builds community. People say that boxing is the loneliest sport, and I don't agree with that. I think you need a lot of sparring partners. You need a community that's going to be there to support you, to help you grow through the sport. And it makes you comfortable amidst conflict. As I said, boxing is conflict. It's a constant conflict, and we all see conflict every day in our day-to-day lives. Conflict is the verbal argument. You're trying to argue a point. Conflict within yourself, and just participating in boxing or really in any other martial art helps you. It's been proved that it helps you deal with conflict and makes you a lot better at managing it.
So how do you feel about boxing? Because I know just in working out alone, boxing requires a lot of discipline.
Yes.
And how do you feel that affects a person in their daily life if they can keep up a good boxing routine?
I mean, I feel like it helps you both physically and mentally, right? What I love about it, and one of the reasons why I got into boxing, is because whenever I exercise, I'm not the biggest fan of exercising mindlessly. I like to be a part of a game or a competition or something that I'm getting better at. And I feel like I got a lot of my motivation to be disciplined through boxing, right? Because I knew that if I rested better, if I drank more water, if I ate better, I would be able to have more energy. But then I'll be able to train more. Then I'll be able to get better at this here discipline. So I would say, yeah, that's how it affects. But yeah, those are the benefits of boxing. There's many others. I'm just trying to be nice and quick. Who are we? We are Downtown Boxing Club. I like to describe it as a welcoming space, that teaches the craft of boxing. We've been operating since 1999. First opened in Washington, D.C. In 2023, we moved here to downtown Silver Spring, and it's been a wonderful 2 years. What do we do? We teach the craft of boxing. That's something that I want to, talk about. I feel like there's many gyms that use boxing as a way for folks to improve their fitness, and kind of like it's just they give you a boxing inspired workout, and that's great. That's like some folks like really like that, and I can definitely support that. But that's not who we are. We teach the craft of boxing. That's our main focus: to teach you how to box, to make you a better boxer. And yes, through that you're gonna get a workout. But then again, whenever you come to Downtown Boxing Club, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get to learn or get better at this here sport. We teach anyone who wants to learn. I take pride that we have an extremely diverse group of folks that come to the gym. I would say like the only thing that we all have in common is our love for the sport. And then like that's something that we at Downtown Boxing Club, we love to share, like we love boxing and we want other people to love boxing. And we found that boxing fans come in many shapes and forms, and I take joy from teaching boxing to everyone. And that's something that is very important for us. We're going to teach anyone who wants to learn, regardless if you're trying to compete amateurly or you just want to practice the sport recreationally. We want to try to make you better. We coach boxers that compete at the amateur level. If that's something that you want to do, that's something that we definitely encourage. And that's something that we're very much capable of doing. And we live our best life, all right? Living our best life is actually kind of like a slogan that one of our boxers came with. He was telling me, shout out Lonnie. He was telling me, when I come to the gym, I feel like I'm living my best life. I'm improving at something, and I'm just having fun with it. And boxing is fun, and I would like to say that we have fun practicing it. How does DBC work? So that's our schedule. If you see our schedule, you're going to see a couple of different kinds of classes or hour slots. The very first one, and you can swipe it, Sean, is the first timer classes. Those are in green. We have them Thursdays at 7 p.m. and Saturdays at 9 a.m. If you've never boxed before, I always recommend the first time and only the first time that you come to Downtown Boxing Club to be a first timer class. That first timer class, what I always tell folks, don't think about it as a workout, think about it as a lesson. It's very educational. It's just basically 2 hours where you're going to be introduced to the very basic concept of boxing, and you're going to break a sweat, but again, the objective of those 2 hours is for you to just kind of like learn the very basics, the stance, proper footwork, the first 2 punches, maybe, how to hit a heavy back, what to think about hitting a heavy back. how to hit mitts. And yeah, and as I said, if you've never boxed before, come to one of those. The very next one, Sean. Then we have the coaching hours. The coaching hours are in white. As you see, those are like big windows of time, often from 9 to 12 or from 4 to 9. What I tell folks, come in anytime you want within the window of time. That's something that I like very much because it gives you the flexibility. You know, you can show up at 4, 4:15, 4:35, whatever. You can expect to be at the gym for a little longer, an hour, but you can stay as long as you want. And that's something that, again, I very much encourage. Obviously, I understand that we all have things to do and places to be, but I want to give people the ability to, like, if they just want to do this thing for 3 hours, they can do it. Yeah, if you show up, to the gym during the coaching hours, you can expect the coach to be there to kind of guide you through a workout, give you a little bit of one-on-one time, and just help you get better. The very next one is going to be the sparring sessions. There you go. The sparring sessions are yellow. We have them twice a week. Wednesdays at 7, Saturdays at 11. The sparring sessions, number one, sparring is non-mandatory. If you choose to decide to practice sparring, it's definitely something to encourage. I think it's something that is a very special part of the boxing experience. For you to spar, also, you must get approved by a coach. We're basically looking for proper technique, proper stamina, and proper respect for the opponent. Proper technique, obviously, you get it by, practicing, getting better at it. Proper stamina is something that also comes from, like, just, practicing sport, skipping rope. And proper respect for the opponent is just something that you have to be aware that, like, whenever you step into a ring to spar with someone, it's not like it's gonna be like two people just trying to, like, take people's head ups, right? It's a learning space. To me, the most satisfying sparring sessions that I've had is whenever it's a selfless act. Whenever I have in front of me someone that is trying for me to get better, and whenever what I'm trying to do is for my sparring partner to get better. Because ultimately, I want my sparring partner to be a better boxer. Because the better sparring partner I have, the better competition I'm going to see, and the better boxer I'm going to be. Obviously, within that sparring, there's different intensities. And sometimes, you might go in there and you say, hey, let's go at 30%. Sometimes you might go in there and be, hey, like, let's make it a little intense. Let's go at 90%. That very much depends on the level. Obviously, the higher level you go, the more intense you're going to have the ability to spar at. But whatever the intensity is, you got to make sure you communicate. You got to make sure that, like, the expectations are set. And again, you got to make sure that, like, the objective of sparring is you want to try to hit someone without hurting them. You don't want to hurt your sparring partner. And obviously, you don't want to get hurt yourself. Right. If you hurt your sparring partner, then you don't have a sparring partner. You can't spar anyone. So it's a very fine line, and it's something that, like, it takes a little bit to learn, and it takes someone that's going to be able to guide you through that kind of thing. And I take great pride in the way that I run my sparring sessions at that boxing club. So yeah,
Right.
Who are our members? All right, so we're gonna do a little show of some of the folks that are with us at Downtown Boxing Club. The very first one is Danielle. Danielle is someone that's been with us for the last year and a half. She works for the government in 9 to 5. She also is an avid boxer. She's competed amateurly. She's in her, I want to say, late 40s, early 50s. She's competed amateurly. She's actually been a boxing judge and a boxing ref. She has a lot of boxing knowledge. Especially, again, whenever we go into, like, knowledge that refs or judges might have, which is very important. Like, the thing about boxing is that it's a subjective sport. Whenever you fight in a competition, unlike you stop the other person, knock them out, you are going to be performing for the judges, and at the end of the fight, the judges are going to give a score. And it's great to have someone that has been in that side. So, many times you ask boxers, me included, we asked her, hey, how would you judge this? What would you do in this hearing stance as a ref? So yeah, shout out Danielle. Joe. Joe is originally from the Virgin Islands. He is also an extremely talented boxer. He is, I believe, in his mid to late 30s. He currently competes amateurly in the open division. Whenever boxing is divided, amateur boxing is divided mostly in novice division, which is folks that have less than 10 amateur fights, and open division, which is more than 10 amateur fights. He competes in the open division in the 141 pounds, I believe. Just a couple of weeks ago, he went to a tournament in Florida and he won it. And that's why I'm in that picture, so happy holding his belt. And yeah, and I also really like having him at the gym because he's someone that, he's a great sparring partner. He has the ability to spar with, very beginners, very experienced, small, big folks, and he can do it in a great way. Then we have Derek. Derek is one of our longest standing members. Derek's been with Downtown Boxing Club since 2005, so about 20 years. Derek's still coming to the gym. Derek also practices, he's an ice hockey enthusiast as well. And as I said, he came to the gym when we were first located in downtown DC by Metro Center, in a building actually got they tore down. 20 years in boxing, always with Downtown Boxing Club. Definitely a very big part of our gym. Then we'll have Jonathan and Emily. We put them together because they're a couple. They've been boxing for about a year. At first, it was Jonathan. A month into his boxing experience, Emily came about. They're a very big part of the gym. They're wonderful to have. They're in their early 20s. Jonathan has a construction company. Emily, I know, works with infants. And they're someone that they're probably there 4 or 5 times a week. So if you go to DDC, you're probably gonna see them. And then Andrew. Andrew is one of our youngest members. He is now 14 years old. He's a sophomore in high school. He's just kind of fallen in love with boxing. He's someone that I get a lot of motivation from. I feel like whenever I see him, he's new into the sport, and he has a very admirable obsession, which is very hard to find in I believe in teens. He has he just wants to get it just right. Just wild to see for me, from someone so young. I feel like through sharing those 5-6 folks at the gym, I was just trying to showcase the diversity that you see at the gym. Where to find us? We are at 969 Thayer Ave. You can hit it with the next slide.
Okay.
So you can see the entrance. There you go. That's our entrance. We're located at 969 Thayer Ave. We are in the second floor of Negro Restaurant. Great job making food, by the way. Very much recommended. You can also find us at, and you can hit me with the next slide. You can find us at downtownboxing.com or on Instagram at downtownboxing. If you have any questions, obviously you can ask it in the webinar. If you see this webinar a little later, you can always send us a DM on Instagram or have a little contact us box in the website, and I'm the one that checks it. I'm the one that answers it. So any questions you might have?
Yes. Question number 1: are there any classes for middle-aged women who's looking to let some steam off.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Yeah, you know, like as I said, what I would tell you is like come during the coaching hours. You're gonna find folks of all ages, all levels of boxing, all fitness levels. The good thing about the way that the gym is run is there's very little structure, and that gives you the ability to just kind of like push yourself off your own pace. You're gonna find coaches that are gonna get to know you, and are gonna get to know when to push you, when to pull. So yeah. Like that's definitely, you know, just come around. Yeah.
Another question is, what's the youngest age that you allow into the gym?
That's a good question. What I often tell folks is that we teach anyone that wants to learn. That being said, we do believe that our services are best catered towards folks about 12, 13 and up. That being said, like I have some 8, 9-year-olds that really love it and they're really into it. So yeah, again, it often depends on like the ability of the young person to be able to stay focused. And then in terms of like age, on the other side going up, there's really no age. One of the good things about boxing and practicing boxing is that it's a very low impact sport. You know, you don't jump, you don't run. It's good on the knees. It's easy on the knees. So yeah, so like, you know, I've had folks as, you know, late as like 65. Yeah, actually, yeah. I have 65, I have 67 that's still boxing regularly.
Okay. This one is coming from one of my football buddies.
Okay.
Do you recommend boxing for a college football athlete to help with their hand and eye coordination if they're playing on the line or playing cornerback?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah. How?
That's one of the things like I like about boxing. It involves definitely your hand-eye coordination. Working double and back, which I don't know, it's a bit of a bouncy ball that just constantly moves in a very chaotic way, and you have to just kind of like find it with your punches. Even hitting mids, you know, whenever you raise, there you go. I'm still getting myself right there. You raise the hand, and you have to be accurate with that punch. There's a lot of hand-eye coordination that comes into play. Yeah.
Okay, and I think that was it for the questions. Hand-eye coordination, kids' age. Okay. Where else? Are there any other besides boxing in your gym, like kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, that you offer in the gym?
No, we only focus on boxing. There's many great places around the DMV that, you know, like introduce and do other martial arts. Mm-hmm. We only do traditional boxing, and I personally feel like focusing on that one sport makes us a little better at giving that sport, you know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now let everybody know all your social media handles, how they can find you. And once again, Aaron is one of the board members of Fenton Village. Also, he's just not a gym owner, but he's definitely one of the board members. And he's about to tell you where you can find him. And if you have any questions or looking to keep this going, you can definitely contact Aaron at these handles.
So obviously you can find us, as I said, at 969 Thayer Ave, downtown Silver Spring, in the heart of Fenton Village. It's only half a block from Georgia Avenue. It's about a 5-minute walk from the downtown Silver Spring metro station. It's gonna be literally around the corner from that purple line. It's gotta come around quick. You can also find us on Instagram at Downtown Boxing. What else do you ask me to share?
Oh, your social media handles.
Yeah.
Instagrams, your Facebook,
and then,
TikTok.
yeah. Just and then obviously, you know, like just talk about Fenton Village. We are very proud of being part of this community. Very small, but full of heart, full of joy, full of like really good food. Full of very interesting, myriad of interesting businesses, and where there's a great boxing gym.
Amen. So I want to say thank you once again, Aaron, for joining us and being one of the proud representatives of the board down here. And with that being said, we have Jackie from Pulse coming up after this commercial break. Thank you.
Shout out, hey, everyone that's seeing me. I'll see you all at the gym, right? Yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
Make a strong first impression and connect you with the target audience.
In the sky, you know how I feel.
I'm confident that I can help you achieve your goals.
Drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new
I have a
dawn.
deep understanding of the needs of our entrepreneur.
It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a journey that's deeply personal and sometimes challenging. But trust me when I say it's never too late to start. But little did I know that my journey would lead me here, sharing my thoughts and stories with you.
Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, I'm feeling
All right, coming to the stage. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can definitely hear you. Coming to the stage is Miss Jackie from Pulse. Can you
Hi.
go ahead and tell us about what's going on, what we got going on? And I have a few questions as you go through this, and let's talk about it.
All right, cool. You want me to just launch into the talk here or answer questions first?
All right, let's go ahead and launch into the talk. I want them to know who you are, where you come from, what's going on, the business, how you got into it, everything.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks so much for having me today. My name is Jackie Sanchez. And yeah, I'm owner of Pulse Community Care. We're your neighborhood resource for acupuncture, Chinese medicine, and holistic wellness. We're over on Thayer Avenue. We're actually right across from Safeway and the Grill. We opened up 10 years ago, and we've been there ever since. Love being in Fenton Village. So yeah, do you have any other specific questions?
What brought you? What brought you to practicing acupuncture and opening up a practice?
Well, so yeah, I have a family that we've got a lot of like medical people in the family, but Western medicine was not for me. I didn't want to do all the pharmaceutical meds and all of this stuff. So being able to help people heal in a way that's not like a Band-Aid or doesn't have a bunch of side effects, and we really get to spend time with our patients. We really get to know them well. And what's really great about Chinese medicine is that we're trained to not just see the physical. It's not just like treating this human being on a physical level, but seeing the energetic template below the physical. So we work on physical, mind, body, spirit. So yeah, it's been a great journey.
How do you enjoy the journey, and how has Fenton Village helped you in this journey?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, the village is the perfect spot for us, and it was a very purposeful choice to open there, because when we opened, a lot of people were telling us, hey, you should open somewhere in like Potomac or Chevy Chase or someplace, where you think is more affluent. Oh, you make more money for your business. And I said, that's not it, because then it's like saying, hey, only people who can like spend a certain amount get to have healthcare. And like for us, our mission is very important to make sure that everybody gets access to healthcare, and everybody lives in Fenton Village. You have every kind of person there, you're not limiting who you're reaching. So the demographic that we have, the people that we see, the families that we care for. I mean, it's like everything we wanted to have that outreach. And, for that reason also, like we do have our regular private services, but we also have community acupuncture on a sliding scale. So services can start at $35 if that's what people need.
Right. So I know with the acupuncture and the suction cup, it's not called suction cups, is it?
The cupping therapy.
Cupping, yeah. How does that like what type of stressors do your clients come to see you for the most?
The most, I mean, here's the thing. Essentially, we're a general medicine practice. We're just general natural medicine. So we do see everything. I mean, there's really everything that comes through the door. Most, I would say, probably low back pain, like disc herniations or sciatic pain. Migraines are super common. Sleep, insomnia, and digestive issues, and fertility. Those are probably the top things we see. Yeah.
Got you. And hold on, I had a question come through. Stress management tips when it comes to this, like the mental health state, the stress, everything.
Yeah, well, and even just like, answering your question of what we see most often, like those are some pretty stress related conditions. To say like migraines, people get migraines when they're stressed, or a lot of times we'll see people have fertility issues, and sometimes the root of that is in just a very stressful life. And for Chinese medicine, our main goal is opening up the flow of qi, just like your vital force, your energy in your body. Like, aside from all the other myriad of things we're doing, that is like point number one that we have to do. So in your body, if the qi isn't flowing, there's an extreme amount of illnesses that can come about from that. For us, we have acupuncture, we have Chinese herbal medicine, we have cupping therapy, we have Tuina and Swedish massage, zero balancing, pelvic floor acupuncture, and somatic coaching. So like we have lots of tools to help people with the stress and just getting through daily life. When we talk about in Chinese medicine, when we talk about stress, it's for us, we understand it as a kind of stuckness or stagnation in the liver channel, like a clogging of that natural flow of qi. And when I talk about, like, if you hear me talk about liver or spleen or any other organ, we don't mean that there's something wrong with the physical organ itself. We mean we're talking about the channel or the energy associated with that organ system in Chinese medicine. Because remember, we're trained to see the physical beyond the physical to that energetic template beneath, and that's where what we do really shines. So back to qi, when qi doesn't move freely, and it shows up as tension and anxiety, digestive issues, poor sleep, emotional overwhelm. So yeah, I mean, if you want, I'd be happy to like show some just like really simple ways that people can do things at home to help with stress.
Please do.
Please do.
Yeah,
please do. Love the enthusiasm. Yeah. So, number one, movement. Movement is medicine. And people forget that, especially in the lives we have now. We're sitting at our desks all day, we're working from home on the couch. There's a lot of ways to end up stagnant. Movement is medicine. So like, even if just like a few minutes you take aside in your day, you're rolling your shoulders, you're shaking out your arms, do some jumping jacks, go for a walk around the block, stretching. These sound like simple little things, but your body needs that movement to move that qi and release that tension. I think all of us kind of know what it's like when you go to the gym or you do something where you're moving and you're like, man, you just feel so much better. The stress from the day can melt away. So even if you're working from home or at an office, you can set a timer that goes off every so often, maybe every 30 minutes or every hour. It just reminds you to get up and move your body and get that qi flowing. Really helps with the stress buildup in the body and that stagnation. At Pulse, we'll combine like body-based therapies like Tuina massage, it's like traditional Chinese massage, or zero balancing with acupuncture. And that helps your body remember how to flow correctly again, because we pick up a lot of bad habits in our flow in our body that we might not be aware of. And so what we do helps the body remember, oh, yeah, this is the way I'm supposed to flow. This feels good. This is healthy. Another tip is belly breathing, deep breathing. A lot of people, when they're stressed and they try to get air in their lungs and calm down, they do this, they do this. And that kind of breathing sends the wrong signal to your nervous system. It sends the signal to your nervous system that, oh, we're going to prepare for something, we're ready to go into battle. What you need to do is belly breathing. And when you breathe deeply into your belly, that sends the signal to your nervous system that we're safe. We can take some time to calm down. So like, even if you do it right now, you take a deep breath and let your belly expand, and then let it out real slow. And you always let those exhales be longer than those inhales, and just like really just let that happen. It's so good for your nervous system. It gets that oxygen into your system, gets your blood flowing in the right way, sends the right signals, gets the right chemicals flooding into your body, and it nourishes that center. So especially if you're somewhere where when you get stressed or nervous, it affects your digestion or it affects your bowel movements, this breathing into that center in that like GI tract area, really, really good. In our somatic coaching sessions at Pulse, we will teach a lot of body awareness tools to help you stay grounded, like even during busy days. We've got a lot of patients, they come to somatic coaching for stress, anxiety, dealing with work or family issues, or even like intimacy issues with their partners, or any of that communication issues. A lot of times learning the signals from your body, or how to send your body the right signals, helps us stay balanced through all of these just human interactions and things we need to deal with. Another thing is acupressure points for stress relief. A lot of people are always so interested in like, what points can I push to accomplish whatever? What points can I push to get my headache to go away, or whatever it is? We can give you some. I will say acupuncture itself, like, we're not usually going in and saying, okay, you're stressed, we're going to put this 1 point in. You have a headache, we'll put this 1 point in. It doesn't really work like that. For like really long-term healing, we will basically listen to your, whatever it is that you want us to help you with, and we will check your pulses. And it's not the same as Western pulse taking. Western pulse taking is how fast it is. That's it. With Chinese medicine pulse taking, there's 6 different positions on each wrist, and each position corresponds to a different organ system or area of the body. And we learn 28 different qualities that the pulse could be. So there's a lot of information we're filtering through when we take somebody's pulse, but that's how the body speaks to us, and we know what it needs. So from that, we form a diagnosis, and from that, we choose our points. And so you might get, 10 to 20 points in a session. And so it's a pattern we need to make in order to adjust everything, so that your body can have its flow open and be as much in balance as possible, and allow it to heal itself. That's how. But if we talk about a few little points you can use at home, there's one that's really calming. It's called yin tong. And this is actually between the eyebrows. So remember, we talked about the liver channel getting stagnant with stress. Well, the liver channel actually goes all the way up to the eyes. And so that's also why people get migraines behind their eyes. But some people, they'll rub their eyebrows when they're stressed. And like, that's like intuitively knowing that this is where the channel goes. But yin tong right between the eyebrows. If you rub this point, you can just rub it like this. And close your eyes and just rub that point. Just go in this direction. Right eye, left eye, around, right eye, left eye. You do that for a minute. It really helps to calm you down. You could try that.
Do that again.
Yeah, do it again. Well, you do it too. You close your eyes and you just use your middle finger is good, because the pericardium channel actually links to the liver channel. It goes all the way up here. So you're making a complete circuit when you do this. You use this finger right there. It's like your third eye point. And then you rub in this direction. So right eye, left eye, round, going in a circle, right eye to the left eye. And you just rub this way, in this point. And you can hear when I'm doing it, I'm getting calm. So we'll stop doing it so I don't fall asleep in the middle of this. But that's yin tong. You can do that. That helps with stress. That helps clear that channel a little bit, especially in the eyes here. The other one, we just talked about the pericardium channel. That's on the arm. And actually, this point here, so if you see this crease on your wrist and you put like 2 fingers, usually it's right under the 2 fingers, right there. And you can even feel it if you kind of go down, you'll fall into a little, you see my finger stops because you fall into a little dip there. So you can feel that. Rub that point, and you can rub it, and you just rub it like this. That's a really good one to calm the mind and the heart. Pericardium, right? It's what protects the heart. So pericardium, right? We're letting your heart know, hey, we got you. You're protected. Everything's safe. It calms down the mind. It's also the main point that commands the diaphragm. So again, with our breathing, helping that belly breathing happen. So that's a really good one as well. So, again, in the actual acupuncture session, we'll personalize point selections to support, emotional balance and or any other thing, if it's pain related, but it's all very personalized. And but these are a couple that you can do at home and see if that works for you. Another thing is foods, right? Like we get all of our nourishment from our foods. Stress is really, it's stressful. It consumes your resources, right? So like you need to have enough resources to combat that stress. So what are you eating? How are you nourishing yourself to deal with the stressors of life? One thing that we find a lot of people do is, when they're busy and they're trying to get quick lunches and things like that, they'll do a lot of smoothies in the morning, smoothies at lunch, or quick salads. Really, when you're eating veggies, and please don't stop eating your veggies, but if you can get them warm or cooked, even just blanched, it is so much better for your digestive system. Warm cooked foods support the spleen and stomach. And that's really the foundation of our energy is, you're getting that in your system. You get your vitamins, minerals, everything from that then makes your blood, right? So we really need that. At Pulse, we also can prescribe Chinese herbal formulas, and that we tailor them to strengthen digestion, support resilience through seasonal transitions. We use them for a lot of things, but they're personalized. So we have a complete herbal dispensary in the back. And your practitioner, if they decide herbal formula is best for you, and that's something you want to do, we mix it herb by herb. So it's super customized, whether it's pain or stress or whatever it is, fertility stuff you want to deal with. We can prescribe that, and it's just like a tea. So it's all plant parts, and they're all just ground down really fine. And so you just take it once in the morning, once at night in hot water. It's just like a tea that you drink, so super easy, but very helpful. But just to remember that, what you're digesting can really contribute to helping you out with your stress as well. And the last thing is rituals of pause. You can remember that. It is a ritual. If you can turn it into a ritual, that's great. To pause in your day, even 2 minutes a day of stillness, sipping tea or feeling the sun on your back or on your face, connecting to your breath. That can really help to center your spirit, or your Shen, as we call it. We encourage these micro rituals in our coaching and acupuncture care plans to build a life that feels calmer and more aligned. If you think about it, to take that time out when you can really just, like I said, even if it's just 2 minutes in your day, especially in the middle of like something busy, right? Like a work day or something, if you can take that time to step outside. We're getting into that nice weather time, right? Like take advantage of that. Just kind of in that same space we've been talking about, where you can just close your eyes and use your senses, right? When you can do that, you start to notice in your body the messages that are happening. You can slow down, close your eyes, sit outside, and just feel the breeze or the sun. When you quiet yourself enough, right? So we're not just like dealing with all these external factors. We can quiet ourselves enough. You can start to notice your body's always sending you signals. You might start feeling, some tingling in your legs, or I want to take a sigh right now and like really relax into this, or I feel hungry right now. I didn't even realize, I was so busy running through work, I didn't even realize I'm hungry right now. I need to feed myself. Little things. And you can start to learn to read your body's signals. You can get more minute and know really what it's trying to tell you and what it needs. And it can help us take care of ourselves in that way. Stay more in the flow, stay away from the stress, keep ourselves nourished to combat the stress. Rituals of pause is very interesting when you really dig into it, but it's a very important thing to build into your daily life if you can. At Pulse, we look at the whole picture. It's not just the symptoms, but it's those underlying patterns that we live with. Whether you need acupuncture or pelvic floor for deep internal support, massage therapy to release the body's holding patterns, or somatic coaching to help rewire your relationship with stress, we're here. We're here to help you build lasting resilience, and it's not just a temporary fix. Those are our tips for stress.
Gotcha. So how do you help your clients start their morning balance and being centered? What are some tips for that?
Like when they come and see us?
Yes. And that is something they can take home to keep that balance going.
Yeah. So, if somebody, if we take an example and say somebody's coming to see us for stress, like they're just like, I have some stress, it gives me anxiety, and it's just building up. And every morning I wake up with stress and anxiety. And they come see us for morning acupuncture, right? Something that's a really great protocol we do is in the ears. And it's called a Nada protocol. And it's really great for detoxing the stress hormones that sit in your organs. So like, even if you took away that stressor, those hormones are still sitting in your body because it's so used to the trigger. So we need to get that out of your system. So that's a really cool tool that we have. And it really helps people see a pretty quick difference in how they wake up and how their bodies are just immediately wired for stress. But as far as taking things home, sometimes we will use that protocol, and we'll put little, they're called ear seeds. And they're just little seeds that you can just stick on those points. And so as the day goes on, if the patient starts feeling stressed, they can just rub those little seeds on their ears, and it activates the same protocol. So that's a really cool one.
Got you. So tell us about your close history and connection with Fenton Village.
Well, I'm actually super, super, super local. I was born at Holy Cross Hospital, so just like down the street, basically. So I mean, I have seen downtown Silver Spring and Fenton Village go through many iterations, and it's a place that feels really safe to me. And I know the businesses there are, it's not like other places where everything is a chain. Like we've got a lot of really local good people that support their families and make their businesses and their homes there. So I mean, I love it. It's been super, super comfortable. These are my people, and that's a great place to be.
So besides that, what are like your favorite things to do at your shop? Like, what you specialize, you wake up and enjoy doing there?
Oh, for me specifically, what I like to treat, two things. One is like orthopedic cases, honestly. So meaning like spine issues, joint issues. People coming in with like disc herniations in their spine, or tears, things like this. That's so juicy to me. I love that. And it's, you know, it's not something where it's like, oh yeah, I woke up, or, you know, I slept on my pillow wrong. Like that's a quick, like, you know, you'll feel much better by the time you leave. Like that's no problem. Things that are orthopedic cases, those are usually like, you know, they take some time to heal. But what I love about it is like, usually when people go to Western medical doctors for this, they say, you know, here, take a shot for it, or take some muscle relaxers to help, or you're going to need surgery. So a lot of people come to me for those kinds of cases before surgery. And a lot of times they don't end up needing to have the surgery. And so that's, you know, as long as they can stick with me for a couple months and we can heal it properly and not just put a Band-Aid on it to stop the pain, many times people don't need to go into surgery. So that's, I find super, you know, a lot of satisfaction from that. The second thing for me is fertility. I like that. I usually tell women, give me 3 months. And usually that's a time frame that it takes. You know, we'll see women that, you know, they've gone through all the tests and they say, hey, we don't find anything. I mean, there's not like an issue, but here, let's do IVF. And IVF is really taxing on the body, you know? So it's really great to be able to work with these women in a natural way that helps their body prepare properly to conceive. And yeah, usually in about 3 months we can get there. And, you know, or even if there are issues, we can help. Like sometimes, you know, there's endometriosis or other issues, and herbal medicine is great for helping with that. So yeah, that's really great, because then you get to, you know, see this baby being born eventually, and we'll see women through pregnancy. Actually, the women that come to acupuncture regularly through pregnancy, their babies tend to be born really chill and like easier, you know, the birth is easier, and the, you know, early days of having the baby at home, they cry less. They're just much more calm, because part of what we're doing when we're in an acupuncture session is, right, we're getting those good hormones flowing, we're opening up the flow, everything in the body is becoming in balance. So the baby gets treated in that same way, right? They get benefits from all of that. So we're kind of doing a duo treatment in one. And then another fun part of it is women always love that we can tell the sex of the baby through the pulse. So yeah, I don't think I'm knock on wood, but I hope I don't jinx myself, but I haven't gotten it wrong once. So that's always fun. So yeah, those are the two things I like to treat the most.
Well, one, on behalf of Fenton Village, we like to say thank you for being part of this, and thank you for coming. And for anybody that don't know, give them your social media handles, let them know where you're from. And we also have Miss Angela Walker coming up next, and then followed by Nate after her. So just for y'all, stay tuned. We have some great people coming up right behind you. So just give them out your social medias, let them know where they can find you. And once again, we appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks, Shauna. So we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, Discover Pulse is our handle, and online you can find us at discoverthepulse.com, or just swing by and see us at our office across from the Safeway on Thayer Avenue. We're at 912 Thayer, Suite 105. We're honored to be a part of this neighborhood, and we can't wait to welcome all y'all into the Pulse family. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you. On the commercial break, when we come back from commercial break, we will have Miss Angela Walker and followed by Nate. So thank y'all on the commercial. And thank you, Miss Jackie.
Thank you, Sean.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
Make a strong first impression and connect you with the target audience.
In the sky, you know how I feel.
I'm confident that I can help you achieve your goals.
Drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new
I have a deep understanding of the needs of an entrepreneur.
It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a journey that's deeply personal and sometimes challenging. But trust me when I say it's never too late to start. little did I know that my journey would lead me here, sharing my thoughts and stories with you.
Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new life. I'm feeling good.
All right. Coming to the stage is Miss Angela Walker. How you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am blessed. And right after you, we got Mr. Nate. So today's been a great day. Everything been going flowing. So how's your day going?
It's been well. It's been flowing. I went to brunch with my niece and grocery shopping, worked out, and now I'm here.
All right. Hey, so tell us about yourself.
My name is Angela Walker. I run a natural hair studio, which is a natural hair salon. We have 2 locations, one of which is in the Fenton Village area.
How long have you been there?
We've been there since 2020, but we've been around since 2012.
Oh man. So what inspired you to get into the natural hair industry? Like into that?
I was inspired. I knew I wanted to get into the hair industry before I went to college. I went to UMCP. And when I was there, I took my first African American Studies course. At the time, my hair was really long and really straight. And after that course, I knew that I was going to cut off my hair. This is like my 4th big chop. And I was no longer going to do my friends' hair who wanted to straighten their hair. And I just kind of shifted my dreams from opening up a more traditional Black hair salon that would have been straightening hair and doing the curls to a natural hair salon that focuses on locks, braids, and loose hair.
Got you. So what are some common clients' concerns from parenting taking care of their kids here?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of times what makes kids with curly hair such a unique group is that it's typical for parents to kind of know what to do with their children's hair because they have similar hair. But when it comes to curly or really kinky hair like myself, most of the time their parents were either wearing their hair very differently or they come from a background where their parents are of 2 different heritage. And so the parents are just not used to this type of hair. And so when it comes to curly hair, a lot of education, kids curly hair specifically, a lot of education goes into their appointments when it comes to the parents. The parents ask a lot of questions, wanting to know what do they need to do at home. A common issue is detangling, like the child crying and why that is and what can they do. And so yeah, it tends to be a very educational experience for the parent and an eye-opening experience for the child because it's usually a very laid back and calm experience at the salon, where at home, where the parent may not know what to do, it can feel chaotic to the child and the parent.
Got you. Because I have 2 daughters myself, and my youngest one is trying to figure out, she rocks a bun or the bun or the 2 ponytails, and she's trying to figure out like why her hair breaking and what she can do to fix stuff like that, because she's only 14. She's an athlete.
Okay.
So she's definitely into it. So what type of recommendations do you have for stuff like that?
What type of athlete?
Soccer and basketball.
Okay. A serious athlete. You said what?
She's running all day.
Yeah. A lot of times the teenage years are interesting because I would say a lot of times when they're in high school, they have a very different level of expectations of what their hair should look like, how easy it should be. And there's usually a difference between what they were going for and what their hair is actually looking like. And a lot of that can just be influenced by what's in at the time. So right now, I know a lot of, my son is also 14. So when I go to his school, I see a lot of the slick back ponytails, the two buns, and then I see a lot of like knotless braids as well. When it comes to the two buns, it's usually very like sleek that's leading up to them. And so if you have hair like myself, getting it into a sleek bun, hair like myself, not even talking about like how short it is, but just the texture, getting into a sleek bun may not be the look that your hair is like designed to give. The best recommendation would be just to focus on the health of the hair. She's not swimming, so it shouldn't be difficult, just to make sure that like trims are happening, deep conditioners are happening, different types of treatments are happening. And usually I like to say once a quarter for hair that's really healthy. But if it's hair that you're just kind of trying to give it a boost, once a month, having a treatment once a month usually helps a lot.
So how is braiding and knotless braids damaging to the natural hair? Like, is it good or is it bad? Because I heard mixed things when it comes to braids.
Yeah, I don't think that knotless braids or braiding is bad for the hair. I do think that they have gotten a bad reputation from bad techniques that were very common in the past. However, I think with the internet and just, the funneling of information, I don't think that people are practicing. I should say, I hope that a lot of people are no longer practicing the tight braids like they used to. The misconception used to be the tighter the braid, the longer it's going to last, the better it is. And we realized that what that led to was a lot of traction alopecia, which simply means damaging your follicles from literally the tension of the braid. Nowadays, I think that we are a lot more educated, even the consumer. Like, I don't think the consumer is even going to sit for an extremely painful hairstyle, nor do I think they would keep one in that's like giving them headaches. So that helps. But on top of that, I think the practitioners are typically a lot safer. I know that at N, we really focus on hair care, even more so than hairstyle. So let's say that someone came in and they wanted to get micro locks, but we felt that their hair wasn't in a healthy enough state to get that style yet. We would let them know and talk them towards like, what can you do in the meantime while we work on getting your hair into like a better state for this style. When it comes to knotless braids, something that we let our clients know is that we are not that slick down, edge control type of salon. Like, we're going to make sure that the style is neat, but we're also going to make sure that your hair is healthy while wearing it. And so we have clients who get knotless braids year round and their hair is totally fine. They have all their edges and they love it and we love it. And it's a wonderful thing.
What are some popular local styles right now and which ones are your favorite?
My personal favorite, I don't even know if it's local as much as it is like industry wide, would be the knotless braids. They call them knotless goddess braids. So it's knotless braids, but then they also have like curly hair with it. I really like that look. I think it makes the woman herself walk around with a certain level of confidence and poise. And it's a very like free looking style, but it also looks neat, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So that's my personal favorite at the moment. Popular and classic are 2-strand twists, locks, and knotless braids, even without the goddess curls. But those three tend to be like top of the list every time. Maybe not knotless braids, but definitely just like 2-strand twists and lock grooming for the past at least 15 years. That's what most people are getting and rocking because it's simple, it lasts, and your hair looks neat while it's in there.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you infuse yourself in the natural hair studio?
That's a good question. I don't really infuse myself physically in the space anymore. I work 99.9% of the time from home. And so the people who are in the salon are mainly our stylists, our shampoo bells, and our salon manager. Myself, our marketing goes in there as well to film. HR, secretary, booking, none of us are actually physically in the space.
Got you. So how long, what is the deep history you have with Fenton Village?
The deep history I have with Fenton Village?
Yeah.
I've known about Fenton Village. I knew about Fenton Village before I even came onto the street. So I came onto the street because of Susan. She was in the same space that my salon currently is in, and she was there for 25, close to 25 years. And I feel like when Fenton Village was started, at least the first time that I remember being part of it or even knowing about them, they were putting on a street. It was like a street concert. It was really nice. So that was the first time I heard about them. And then when I moved on to the street, Susan let me know about Fenton Village and their purpose and what they do. The mission behind the nonprofit of it all. Well, I don't know if nonprofit is the word, but just behind the group. And I've seen it play out. I believe I was on the board for like a year and a half, maybe. And that was a nice time. And then even after leaving, I've seen them have a really large impact on myself and the other businesses. They let us know different things about the construction happening. They let us know when grants are happening. And I would say they're very vigilant about making sure that you receive their message. So if they send you an email and they send you another email and they don't see anything, I'm going to get a text, or I'm going to, the manager is going to call me and say, hey, someone is here from Fenton Village to talk to you. So they're very persistent in making sure that the businesses are well informed. And I think that's their purpose, because we're so busy and inundated with our to-dos. It's like, who is this? What are y'all trying to tell me? So I really appreciate like the level of persistence that they have when it comes to giving us information.
Got you. If parents have questions for their child stylist, how should they go about that?
Oh, so if parents have questions about their children's hair, I would say, one, it's ideal to book an appointment where there's going to be the least amount of people around. That can be tricky because most parents are bringing their children on the weekend when they're free and their child is free. If they can do an evening weekday appointment, that's ideal. We are open 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that would be ideal because the weekends can be busy. If you have to book a weekend appointment, I recommend coming in the morning before the salon gets, jam-packed. And then also letting the booking concierge know that you want to stay with your child for their appointment. So our locations are very like boutique style. So there's not a lot of like waiting chairs or a lot of chairs for guests to sit. So typically stylists are only expecting for it to be themselves and the client, even if the client is a child. Most of our clients are very comfortable with leaving their children as they, go and run errands or do different things. They've been with us for years. So I would say the first thing is to make sure that the stylist is aware that you want to stay for the child's appointment. The next thing is to come prepared with your questions, and then start asking them. I would say start asking them once the child is in the actual styling chair. And the reason why I say that is because when the child is in the shampoo bowl, that's a really good place for the stylist and the child to connect. And so the stylist can ask the child questions. They can make sure that the temperature is okay. And so if that kind of communication with the child is interjected with a bunch of questions from the parents, the stylist and the child don't really have any time to converse with one another. And usually the children, they're booked with our stylists who specialize in children. And so that's a really fun part of the appointment, not just for the child talking to the stylist, but also for the stylist. So once they're done with the shampoo part and they're in the chair, that's when I think is ideal for the parent to start asking the question, depending on what the child is into. At that time, the child is either reading a book or they're on some piece of technology. So they're not really paying attention to what's going on. And then also at that time, their hair is clean. The stylist has had time to look at it, to feel it. They're about to begin to style. And so even the stylist is in a better position to answer questions about your child's hair specifically.
Got you. Now one of the biggest things for me, like I said, having daughters that got natural hair. I know you can't see me, because I'm behind the other camera. But what are like some good natural hair products that will not bother, like damage the hair, like some good products to grab? And what do each one of them do?
Right. So that's a question that like everyone wishes they had the answer to. At N Natural, we stick to natural hair products. It doesn't mean that you have to. Just for us, it makes sense. We wear our hair naturally, and so our product should be natural as well. If we're talking about moisture, a lot of times moisture, it starts in the shampoo bowl. So making sure that you have a rich shampoo and or detangling conditioner, and then making sure that after that shampoo process, you have a moisturizer that is potent. So what I like to recommend, I love Oyen Handmade's conditioner. They have a honey hemp detangling conditioner, and it works wonders. When it comes to shampoos, I love Alikay Naturals black soap shampoo and their moisturizing shampoo. And there's also a company called Jinsa Essentials they create these oil sprays that we use, but they also are the prime moisturizing shampoo that we use at the salon as well. And it has a really like luxurious scent. So those are the three that I would recommend when it comes to the shampoo process. After the shampoo process, we like to coat the hair in a moisturizer. And so we usually choose between Oyen Handmaids. They have a line of, it's almost like herbal tea, but for the hair. So any one of those from that line is ideal, but we tend to use the juices and berries, or we would use Alikay Naturals lemongrass ginger leave-in conditioner. We definitely lean heavily into Oyen Handmaids when it comes to curls, any type of out style. And then we lean into Alikay Naturals, typically during the winter when our clients need something a little bit heavier. And also for our clients who are wearing knotless braids, that works well for them as well. Other type of products that we have, or I should say that we've come to like stand by. I'm trying to remember the name of the cream that we use. I can't remember the name. I'll have to look through our last order with them. But when it comes to styling, we are in love with It's Natural. That's a company out of VA, and they focus on natural hair, and they have like 3 or 4 different types of mousse, or I should say foams. And so we like to use that when it comes to styling our lock clients, doing 2-strand twists, flat twists, rod sets. It's a product that can be used like for a multitude of styles, and it's lightweight, yet it still gives a little bit of hold. What else? What gel? Gel would be the Talia Wajid Lock It Up gel. Even though it says Lock It Up, it's a lightweight gel. And then for someone who's looking for like a wash and go look, then they tend to do a cocktail at the salon. So they use like a multitude of different gels to create that perfect wash and go look that's going to last you like beyond a week. Part of that cocktail is the It's Natural gel, along with what's this company? Uncle Funky's Daughter. They have a curl gel as well. That's in a pump, so it's very lightweight, as well as the Dew's gel as well that comes like in a tub. The Dew being THE and then DOUX.
Got you. What do you miss about being behind the chair?
I miss the clients. I miss being able to create the art of working just with a blank canvas and being able to create something beautiful. It is a rare occasion that I'm going in today just to work on a client turned friend. Her daughter is having her cotillion or something coming up. So I'm going to be doing her hair. But yeah, I think for a lot of people, when you get into business, you get in business for the love of the art of whatever it is that you're doing. And a lot of times, at least in this particular business, it really centers around the client. And then once you're in there and it's time to grow, you realize that you can only see but so many clients in a day. And so then you're like, okay, so I need to hire people. And then when you start hiring people, you're like, okay, I need to train people. And then when you start training people, you're like, okay, I need someone to manage these people. And so you end up getting further and further away from what kind of got you started in the first place. But you also realize that despite me not being in the salon and being able to see my clients and being able to practice the art of natural hair, I'm of better service to my community in the position that I hold because we're able to reach more people this way. I'm able to hire more people. We're able to service more people. I'm able to provide more jobs. And so I definitely miss being in the salon, but my impact is heavier when I'm not.
Got you. So what advice do you have for others who came from behind the chair and not wanting to go back? But what advice do you have for them type of people?
People who came from behind the chair and do not want to go back?
Right. It's such as yourself. I know a lot of people that get from behind the chair and be educators, and then sometimes they get discouraged and want to make more money, so they go back to the chair.
Oh, that's what you mean. Yes. Realistically speaking, you're going to make more money behind that chair for a while, unless you are, unless you're building something simultaneously and you're waiting for that other thing to be close. So I think I used to take a lot of light classes, but the typical math is something like 70%. Once this other side thing gets to about 70% of your income, then jump ship to do it full time. Because once you jump ship, you'll be able to make up for that other 30%. So if you are expecting, I should say, to move from behind the chair and make the same amount of money, you will most likely not have that happen. So ideally, you would either want to save or have your expenses be so minimal that you're able to move from behind the chair and really focus on working on the business without it affecting your lifestyle or affecting it too negatively. I lived at home with my mom, and so I was in a unique position to step away from the chair and really focus on working on the business than I would say the average person is. It's not an easy transition, especially if you're a grown adult, if you got kids, if you got a whole bunch of bills and a mortgage, like it's not an easy transition. And so preparing yourself mentally is extremely important. The other part of the transition is that stylists, we tend to be extroverts. Well, a lot of us are extroverts. We're introverts as well, but we love to talk to people. So similar to therapists, like we love to talk to people, we love to listen to people. And so when you're making that transition, you may not realize how much you're going to miss it or how different life is going to be working from home or working in another space of your business versus being behind the chair, holding, 7 to 8 different conversations with your clients. And then also, if you're not working in a suite, you're also able to hold those different conversations with your teammates as well. So I would say a mental shift really needs to happen in order for you to not go back. And there's a level of financial preparedness that you must dedicate yourself to.
Got you. Last question. I know it's a lot going on. Last question. Like, what motivates you every day to do what you do?
I have a certain vision for myself, my life, and my family. And I work towards that very diligently every day, whether it be through mindset. I do a lot of mindset work, or it be through like physical tasks. But I'm definitely one that's getting up every day, starting off with meditation, jumping into exercise, and then getting the kids, together before jumping into my daily tasks.
Got you. Now, can you first of all, on behalf of Fenton Village, I want to say thank you for joining us, being a part of this, and helping us grow this. This what we're growing here in Fenton Village, and
yeah, I love it.
Part of it. And just let everybody know where they can find you at, your social media handles, how they can contact you, how they can ask you questions, all that good stuff.
Yeah, so we have actually taken a step back from social media. So a lot of our salon marketing is actually happening in person. Think like 1990s flyers. But you can find us through Instagram at N Natural Hair Studio, and on TikTok at N Natural Hair Studio. I'm pretty sure we're on Facebook at N Natural Hair Studio. But ideally, we like to actually connect with people when they call us, when they visit our website, when they send us emails, when we see them on the street. And so our number, if you wanted to text us, is 301-901-8047.
And once again, I want to say thank you. We got Nate coming up next to discuss the restaurant business. We want to say appreciate you coming with the natural hair business. And we're going on a commercial break. And y'all, you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
All righty.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
Make a strong first impression and connect you with the target audience.
In the sky, you know how I feel.
I'm confident that I can help you achieve your goals.
Drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new
I have a deep understanding of the needs of an entrepreneur.
It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a journey that's deeply personal and sometimes challenging. But trust me when I say it's never too late to start. But little did I know that my journey would lead me here, sharing my thoughts and stories with you.
Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new life. I'm feeling
Welcome. I know you can't see me, Nate. I'm behind the camera. Well, we want to say thank you, and we appreciate you for coming on and being a part of this. Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So tell us about what you do, the business, and what got you started.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'm Nate Lema. Proud to represent Nazarawi Ethiopian Restaurant. It's a family-run place in Silver Spring. It's really built on tradition, community, and care. And just quick little, I guess, background on the restaurant. It's called Nazarawi because all the founders, which would be my family, which include my mother, her best friend Yerus, her husband Solomon. It's really a family affair, and we're all from a city called Nazareth in Ethiopia. So and that city no longer actually exists just because of internal changes and political changes. So it's actually been officially renamed. But from anybody that's from there, it's still called Nazareth. Even myself, I'm a first-generation immigrant. So I was born and mostly raised there, I guess, to a certain age. And in our culture, if you're from that area, it's a very niche community of people. There's a close tie. So we call ourselves, when you see somebody, you say, yeah, Nazareth Village. and that translates to like a child of Nazareth, right? So that's why we actually named the restaurant Nazrawi, meaning a person from Nazareth. It's just a more non-colloquial way of saying it.
Right.
But yeah, so the restaurant business is well, we it's actually been what started the business is actually a it's really the dream and the hard work of two incredible women, and that would be my mother Maseret and her partner Yerus. Both of them actually have so many years beyond, I guess, collectively several decades of experience in the food scene in the DMV area. I don't know if any of you or any of the viewers have ever been to Dukam Ethiopian restaurant in downtown Silver Spring, DC. It's very famous. My mother actually spent years working there. That's how she brought money in to raise me and our family. And Yerus actually used to own a another Ethiopian restaurant in Wheaton called Ertale. And unfortunately, was forced to close over COVID. So they've seen their fair share. Both women have seen their both share of ups and downs, um, and in all that they've kind of maintained a close bond. And in 2022, they got this opportunity to take over an existing Ethiopian restaurant in downtown Silver Spring. Right, it used to be. Uh, Actually, at this point, I might start forgetting the name of what it used to be, but um, apologies, I'm blanking on it. But we took over the business in 2022, and that's when we took over and renamed it to Nazrawi. And since then, it's been a full family affair to run and operate this business. Everybody's involved, everybody's helping.
Yeah, I had noticed that. I definitely had noticed that. And one thing I can say for sure, hey, the fish and the salad is amazing. I ate it twice, but
Thank you.
you can definitely tell it's a family affair. Everybody worked together. I witnessed the tea ceremony, and I was gonna ask you like, what made them two come together, like to say, yeah, let's do this.
It's that kinship I was telling you about. They know of each other for a very long time, but it's hard to, in most circumstances, it'd be hard to keep a close connection, especially when you move to another country. You don't talk to each other for a long time, but it's that kinship of being from that same area, right? And it's a really close tie that beyond being from the same immigrant group in any foreign country, it does bring you a certain degree together. But having even a closer tie, being from that same city and having just tradition and these like close ties that really bring you together, it really separates your relationship. You can really go through a lot, and I think that's when I think when my mother heard about the restaurant, Yerus's restaurant failing in Wheaton, I guess not due to any of her issues, but just COVID. They just started talking, and it's just been a long time dream of my mother's to have her own place. And Yodus was just working hard in that space for a long time. And one thing led to another. And my mother, whenever she needs something, she contacts me. So she gets me and Yodus' husband, Solomon, in the same room. And we take, Solomon, he's a doctor actually. So, and he has a lot of work he has to do. I am a full time. I run another full time business. I'm also a contractor, so I'm actually even in New York right now. So, but we made time, and we really just made this work because of how much we care about the family and the connection. And really, the root of it all, though, is we're all from this one space, this one city. Fun fact, actually. Um, People from the city actually identify each other. A little education note. If you see anybody in an Ethiopian, the water in Ethiopia or in that specific city has a high mineral content. So, and drinking that water from a young age will actually cause slight stains in the formation of the teeth, So it's a quick way that people from that area actually identify each other. You're not going to see it in a lot of people, but it's a nice little built-in like check, like,
Wow.
oh, this person belongs with one of us. And you can ask them a question or whatever afterwards, but it's a quick way to kind of identify.
Gotcha. That's definitely a fun fact for real. Because I was gonna ask you, what was your role? Because I've been to the location maybe 3 times, and I
Mhm.
think each 3 times you was gone, I met your sister, and I found out what her role was. And she was like, she does IT, and then she was like, my brother always traveling. He on vacation now, so.
Yeah, I mean, I try to take any vacation I can. Like I said, I run a like a government contracting business, right? So I'm constantly switching between contracts and people, and then I'm kind of like the digital presence and the just the logistics and the paperwork side of the restaurant business as well. Me and the Dr. Selman I've told you about.
Right.
So we can't both be present in person. Um, we're we're just filing paperwork for the women, and it's the women in our family that really to run and handle the business. We're just paperwork jockeys at this point.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Hey, what is like the most popular dish at the restaurant, and why do people love it?
I'm gonna be honest. I think it's probably the asa goulash, and that's a actually a lesser known Ethiopian dish. It was not that common. It's a fried fish, or fried tilapia dish with a seasoned tomato sauce that you eat with the injera bread, and um, it's like I said, it's a lesser known dish, and I think people are shocked. Like, oh wow, when you think of Ethiopian food, especially in the area, you think of all these different beef dishes and all these mixed vegetables and etc. But nobody really thinks about the fish dishes in the area, and that's something we really wanted to highlight. And I think it's translated very very well. It's the most popular, most requested uh, thing um, in the restaurant, and it's actually one of the things that stands out because Ethiopians have this, fasting for religious purposes, and they're not allowed to consume meats at that time. But I think even the Ethiopian consumers also really like having those fish dishes, and having a place that really specializes in fish dishes available to them.
Got you. Got you. I do have a good question. Can you tell me about the coffee ceremony and the significance behind that? Because I witnessed it, but I just didn't know the right questions to answer it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just coffee is like the lifeblood of Ethiopia. It's founded in Ethiopia. It's been around for a long time. I mean, I'm sure you can tell when you walk around just the Fenton area as a whole, coffee is so important in the community. Um, it's like I said, it's founded by an Ethiopian. There's even a business nearby. You've probably seen it, the most popular coffee shop in the area, Caldi's. And that's to highlight the founder or the person who um, discovered coffee and who's a Ethiopian herder. So, and it's just been part of the community and the ritual of the day for most Ethiopians. In the coffee ceremony part, like you roast the coffee, you brew the coffee all in the same room. There's a fare to it. There's even some gestures that you're not really taught. You just see and you kind of mimic as a child. When you roast the coffee, it's respectful for them to bring the coffee around as it's being roasted and kind of bring it close to you. And you're supposed to waft the smell. It's like confirming, oh, this is good coffee. And then they will brew it, and you're supposed to be in a community. This isn't something that's done for like an individual. This is something done for the whole family. It's something that's kind of built in for family time and for guests. So when people come, you have this like ritual that you go through. It's supposed to bring you together. You share. It's like a lighter version of breaking bread, and it's very common for even the food scene in Ethiopia. It's people like to eat communally, do things communally.
Got you. Got you. So, what is the restaurant deep history with Fenton Village, and how's that Fenton Village been a
I'm
part
sorry.
of the restaurant?
Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
Yeah, how deep is the history with the restaurant in Fenton Village, and how important is Fenton Village history to the restaurant?
I mean, it's. I think the restaurant has had so many faces long before we even were there, it's been part of the Fenton Village for so long. Um, it actually it originally was a place called ETO Express, and it was a first attempt at a Ethiopian fast casual restaurant. It didn't translate well, and then switched over to another person, changed names, and then it got to us. So it's been deeply rooted in, uh, I guess, the innovative and cultural sides of Fenton for a while. I mean, it has not seen its successes, but I think currently in our hands, it's starting to change and find a more traditional role. But it's been part of the culture for so long, and I mean, and every person that's involved in this business has been part of the community for so long, been the Fenton Village for so long. Um, I mean, I spent most of my um, youth and spending walking around Fenton. I've had a lot of friends. I've worked in several businesses in the area. Um, now we're very like entrenched into the community. All the business owners in the area know each other, especially if you're Ethiopian in the area. It's like Fenton area is very Ethiopian. It's part of the identity of the area, and so and I think that translates very well into the restaurant as well. You can
Right.
see it in everybody around the area. You'll occasionally, if you go into the restaurant, you'll see a few of the local business owners just coming by, asking like how are things, checking in. You know, it's a really just a community that's you can see it every day.
Got you. So, in your eyes, what are like the most important things to when it comes to running a restaurant?
And that's, I mean, you can ask any restaurant owners. It's just people management. Whether it's the customers, making sure they're happy, making sure it's employees, making sure they're happy and they feel like they're getting a good day's work. And you know, in this case, we have the extra curveball of also working with family and a lot of family all at the same time. At any one time, you could have 5, 6 members of our family at the restaurant. So that adds an extra curveball of having to deal with a whole other type of people dynamic, right? People get frustrated and people get maybe angry with each other because it's all like passion for what the business is. And I mean, it's beautiful, but it's something you have to learn how to do. And I think it's true for any restaurant. People management is the key. If you can't manage your employees, if you can't um, work with your partners, your distributors, your customers, that's really the what decides if you're going to be a successful business in the restaurant space or not.
What are the pros and again, this is my biggest question. What are the pros and cons to working with family?
I mean, with pros and cons, I guess but they're kind of the same thing, right? You could be very frustrated, right? And it's not a problem if you're frustrated and you want to um, you could just, I mean, say things that might be in a frustrated moment or whatever. And for most circumstances, if you're in a true work environment, things like that would just not work. You can't be angry and yell at a coworker. But with family, you kind of just you can do that, but it's also the issue because it can happen to you, and it leads to these really frustrating moments where you're like, "Ah, I need this to happen," and but it's family, so you kind of just move on. You see them at dinner later, and you just it's not an issue. That's your family. And for me, in this case, I'll try to coordinate things and do etc. Do a bunch of different things from afar, right? And I can't call my mother and be like, "Hey, this must happen." That's I can't tell my mother, like, give her instructions. I have to talk to her. And there's also the cultural tradition of like how you're supposed to speak to your mother in this space, right? So I have to go through the proceedings like, "Hey, how are you?" Check in. And she's a mother, so she'll be like more worried about me and as opposed to executing something that needs to happen at the business. So it's nice. You can be comfortable. You don't have to second guess anything. You can really say what you're thinking, but at the same time, there's also these proceedings and other emotions of family that are also involved in the business. So it both makes it frustrating, but it's also all the more rewarding.
Got you. Is there any advice or tips you want to give about handling the business? I know because we pressing for time, but any advice that or tips you can give about being successful, working through it, or just traditional food stuff like that? Any good advice that people can learn from you from?
Like I said, the restaurant's not my only business, and the one thing I've learned for the most successful people in businesses, it will work out. I had my tendency, especially when I'm first starting all these things, it's like everything seems like it's a catastrophe. Like, oh my God, this is gonna fail. I can't. Oh, this has to happen. Oh, and you start stressing yourself out, and it starts affecting maybe you might not sleep well because you're like, oh, I have to do this tomorrow. I have to do this. And it starts affecting the things that you're doing for the next task, right? Like, instead of moving on and worrying about the next thing, you're frustrated by your last failure or something that might happen. And I've just tend to realize, like, the most successful thing you can do, the most helpful thing you can do for your business is realize that things will work out. They have an interesting way of working themselves out. It might not be the route that you wanted, or it might not look pretty, but it's not the end of the world, and it will get better. You just have to do the best you can with the resources that you have on hand.
Okay. Now, before we go, is there any social media handles how they can contact you, your family business, your personal business, and just basically how they can get in touch with you and keep spreading the love? Because like I said, I was in the restaurant. Your mom definitely is a caring person. Like, she seen I was thirsty. She was bringing me drinks. I was like, no, I'm good. She's like, no, you're not. You know
yeah, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. It's cultural, man. You have to. She can't let you go. If you look in any way upset or hungry or whatever, that's not something that's allowed, you know?
Right.
It's also a her thing on top. So it's a double whammy for her. But I'm glad you enjoyed yourself there. We would love to have you back. Hopefully the next time I'm back, we can actually have a nice meal together and actually meet in person for once.
Oh, we're going to make that happen. We're going to make that happen. We'll be, because we usually come back once a month. So we can definitely make that happen. We'll keep in contact and just keep emailing you, letting you know when we come and putting out content and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna be in person one day.
And I guess for any viewers, if they want to contact the restaurant, I guess the easiest route would be Instagram, and it would be Nazrawi, so NAZRAWI _restaurant on Instagram. And if anybody wants to contact me, I guess within a professional, just me as an individual, they can maybe use my LinkedIn. Very responsive on there. And I guess my name on there would be, my first full name would be NATENAEL. Last name is LEMA.
Once again, man, we appreciate you. It's a blessing. It was a blessing being at the restaurant. It's a blessing meeting your sister, your mom. They spoke highly of you when we was there, especially your sister. She was like, hey, my brother enjoys life. And they spoke highly. Like, your mom was very welcoming. The food was, like I said, we was good. Like, I ate all the fish.
I'm really
little fish. So
thank you so much.
We appreciate you, and we'll be in contact. And we're about to hit the commercial, man. But thank you.
All right, you have a good one.
All right, you too.
Bye bye.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel.
Make a strong first impression and connect you with the target audience.
In the sky, you know how I feel.
I'm confident that I can help you achieve your goals.
Drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new
I have a deep
dawn.
understanding of the needs of an entrepreneur.
It's a new day. It's a new life.
It's a journey that's deeply personal and sometimes challenging. But trust me when I say it's never too late to start. did I know that my journey would lead me here, sharing my thoughts and stories with you.
Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new life. How I'm feeling.
All right, all right. Hold on. We're waiting on Susan to come back on. We're waiting on Susan. Here we go.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
That was amazing. I mean, I learned some stuff today. Definitely learned some stuff. Each of the businesses that that presented learned something new, even from my colleague Angela Walker. Constantly learning from each other. So definitely want to get some classes at Downtown Boxing. Definitely want to visit Pure Panic to get some acupuncture. I haven't done that in a long time. And definitely want to visit the restaurant, eat some of that fish. And of course, the law firm is a law firm that I usually send anyone that I know dealing with immigration policies. I'm like, I know that's what he does. So it's a neighborhood, it's a family, it's Fenton Village, and that's who we are. This unique, eclectic neighborhood with all these different businesses and all these cultures and heritage and stuff. And it's just an amazing place. I love it. I miss it. I don't get down there as often as I should. As a matter of fact, my daughter and I was just talking today. Mom, we need some coffee in this house. And I told her if it's not coffee from Kefa or coming directly from Jamaica Blue Mountain Coffee, I'm not drinking it. So she better go down to Silver Spring and get some or Wheaton and get some Kefa Cafe coffee. So, yeah, so I'm just grateful to everyone that came on. As I said, this is a first of a new series that we're going to do. Our ultimate goal is to get as much different Fenton Village businesses on here because, as I said, Fenton Village Inc.'s number one purpose and goal is to promote and protect the small businesses in Fenton Village. And I think we are on a whole new role. We are doing things a little bit differently. We're going directly to the businesses. We are showing up at your business. So get ready for Fenton Village. We're going to be showing up at your business, asking you questions. Please reach out to us. I'm sure Eugenia and Sean probably has like some kind of link where you can go to. I think there's a portal, Fenton Village, Silver Spring. Hopefully I'm saying it right.
Yeah, we'll send you an email.
Yeah, so send them by email any update. But is there anywhere that they need to, where they can reach out to if they need us to help with anything? So I just want to say that we are thankful to serve. So just saying thank you from other board members and myself. Also a big thank you to Eugene and Sean who have just come in and become a part of Fenton Village. I know this is like their city too, and they really, really love Fenton Village. And we appreciate both of you for coming in and doing this work with Fenton Village. And we know it won't be the last time that we will be working with you. So thank you everyone and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right. We are out.